mouth, and what it does is it helps to keep your airway open. That's exactly what a CPAP machine does. Most people who are good candidates for a CPAP machine to treat their sleep apnea are also good candidates for an oral appliance. Most of those people never get offered an oral appliance. Advent has decided to change the practice of medicine in this country by offering oral appliances to our patients. And what that means is we are allowing our patients to have the choice of a CPAP machine oral appliance when they have sleep apnea, and that's a big deal.
Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventNows.com.
Following a Monday night loss to the Tigers at American Family Field, the Brewers and Tigers resume the series tonight. It's Game 2 in Milwaukee with Eric Lauer on the mound for the Brewers, who have lost back-to-back games for the first time this season. Coverage gets underway at 6 o'clock on WTMJ. The Bucks return home from Miami, trailing the Heat 3-1 in their best-of-7 opening round playoff series. The Bucks will need to win 3 straight games to avoid elimination. Wednesday night's game at 8:30 tip from Fiserv Forum. If necessary, Game 6 will be played in Miami on Friday night. And the Packers and Jets agree to a trade compensation package for quarterback Aaron Rodgers that includes Green Bay picking up the number 13 overall pick in this year's draft. Green Bay sends the number 15 pick in this year's draft to New York as part of the deal. Round 1 of the NFL draft will take place Thursday night. Greg Matzek, WTMJ Sports.
Checking your roads with your Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. 94 westbound downtown through the zoo to Highway 16. You're looking good getting out. That standard trip of 17 minutes. Right now, the trouble spot is 894. This is 894 east, right around Loomis. So the left shoulder is blocked because of a crash, and you also have the barrels up in the right lane there. So you're squeezing by. You have 2 lanes open. You'll get through it, but you're seeing some heavy delays as they deal with that crash cleanup there. So you'll get through. But yes, because of that accident that's over on the left shoulder, it is slowing things down.
Traffic is sponsored by Trees on the Move. From planning to planting, it's Trees on the Move. We all look forward to outdoor living in Wisconsin. From planning to planting and everything in between, now is the perfect time to let Trees on the Move beautify your landscape.
WTMJ 5-day forecast. Partly sunny today, a high of 46. Tonight, clear sky, a low of 33. Wednesday, sunny, a high of 48. Thursday, partly cloudy, a high of 58. Friday, partly sunny, a high of 58. Saturday, rain is likely in a high of 55 degrees. Right now in Madison, 44. Green Bay, 45. Waukesha, 39. And in Milwaukee, 42 degrees. I'm Eric Bilstead, Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 12:07.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at The Avenue, it's the Jeff Wagner Show. Come join the conversation on the Old National Bank talk and text line at 855-616-1620. Old National Bank. Get old. Now, here's WTMJ's Jeff Wagner.
Good afternoon, Wisconsin. Welcome to the show. Eric Bilstead, before you leave.
Yes.
I do not claim to be an NBA coach. I don't claim to have any sort of, intricate understanding of basketball. However, I just, as a pure fan, when you have one player on another team who everything he's throwing in is going in, who's scoring 50-some points, at some point in time, like maybe after he scores 20 in the first quarter, don't you say, I'm not going to let this guy do it. We're going to double cover him. We're going to triple cover him, whatever. Nobody else is scoring. We're going to make somebody else have to score. Don't you do that?
Try to do something to adjust to that hot shooter. I don't know. You're right.
I'm yelling at the television last night, and it's just kind of like, okay, I just flat out don't get it. And again, I'm not trying to. I am second guessing this, but you got one guy who's scoring, and put 2 guys on him, put 3 guys on him, whatever, make somebody else beat you. How can you let somebody just go off for 56 points or however many he had?
Even when they were up, which was for most of the game, they never looked right.
No,
they just, even the first half, they never looked right.
Right. Well, it's the same thing that has gotten them in trouble. And I understand they have the best record in the NBA, but it's too much dribbling, and it's not playing defense. It's letting people have open shots that they're making. But it was just how I never understood. If there's one guy that's scoring all the points, just cover him. Put 2 guys on him. Put 3 guys on him, and then move to something different instead of here. We're just going to let him keep doing this and hope he misses. they're in trouble. Bucks are in trouble.
We need you Wednesday night. We need you courtside.
Well, yeah. Well, you need me on the bench. Okay. Let me just. Is there anybody here? Okay, we're going to take two guys and we're going to put them on Jimmy Butler or whoever. And if somebody else that you never heard of beats you, well, they beat you. But in any event,
I understand.
All right. Okay, that was just it. But look, I was trying to be Susie Mary Sunshine. If you follow me on Twitter, matter of fact, this is the tweet I sent out last night. That's gotten a huge response. All right, and it's at Jeff Wagner 620. But I was flipping back and forth between the Brewers game, and the Brewers had an awful game last night.
Bad night in Milwaukee
Well,
sports.
here's what I said: a really bad day for Wisconsin sports fans. Aaron Rodgers traded. And let me just, whatever you feel about Aaron Rodgers over the last couple of years, he was with the Packers for, 18 years.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think it's kind of a sad ending to a career. And maybe you can say he underperformed. They should have won more Super Bowls. But, and like I was saying with Steve, he's a weird dude. But still.
The Hall of Famer.
Right, exactly. And an integral part of the Packers for, the last 15, 18 years. And he's gone. And that's. I don't think people can feel good about that. So Aaron Rodgers traded, the Brewers lose, and the Bucks choke big time.
Yep.
All right, so I think you can make an argument. I don't know if it's the worst day in Wisconsin sports history, but it was certainly a bad day all around.
It's in the team photo.
Exactly, it's in the team photo. But here's what I said. I said, still, the sun will come up tomorrow. It did. Your spouse still loves you, probably, and your dog will definitely be glad to see you when you come home.
This is true.
And that was my sentiment because, yeah, the sun came up this morning. My spouse still loves me, no question about that, and my dog Sasha is going to be thrilled when I walk in the door at 3:30 this afternoon. She will be there. She will be jumping up. She will be thrilled to see me. So at the end of the day, okay, bad day for Wisconsin sports fans, but. And big picture, we'll get over it.
I love that mindset. Thank
Absolutely,
you for that.
right, exactly. One of our texters then, when somebody responded, sent a picture saying, I hadn't thought of it like that, but then they sent a picture of their dog. I said, you're exactly
There you
right.
go.
That's why we do not deserve dogs. It's just it, because they love you unconditionally, and I don't know that there's anybody out there. So they love you unconditionally. So that's my philosophy. A really bad day for Wisconsin sports fans, but still, the sun came up, your spouse still loves you probably, and your dog is definitely going to be glad to see you when you get home. Let's get started with the program. This is as reported by Fox 6. This happened last Wednesday night, early Thursday morning, 12:45 a.m. on Thursday morning, so last Thursday. Here's the deal. There was a high-speed chase involving Glendale officers, speeds reaching nearly 100 miles per hour. It was a stolen Hyundai. Police used stop sticks to bring it to an end. If you want to see some of it, it really is. It's kind of a must-watch video, and I've got a link to the video from Fox 6 on my Twitter account. It's at Jeff Wagner 620. But what happens is, it starts about 12:45 in the morning. Police see this Hyundai that turns out to be stolen. They begin to chase the car. They deploy stop sticks. Matter of fact, there's a video showing the stop sticks. The car goes over the stop sticks. It blows out at least one, maybe more of the tires. It does not stop them. They continue to drive at a high rate of speed. Ultimately, what happens is the car finally comes to a halt, and the people, it started, the car was stolen out of Saukville, and so this ends up in Glendale, high-speed chase, over 100 miles an hour. There are, I believe, 6 people in the car. And when the car ultimately comes to a stop, everybody, of course, what happens? They run. Well, in this particular case, they run through the neighborhoods. A number of the neighbors, heard all this noise and were terrorized that you had people that were like running through their neighborhoods trying to get away from the police. The car finally came to a stop near Lawrence and Cornell in Milwaukee. Okay, here is the dazzling detail of this story. So it's 12:45 in the morning, last Wednesday night, Thursday morning. High-speed chase, stolen car, 100 miles an hour. Car blows over stop sticks and continues to try to flee as fast as it can go after the tires have been blown out. Finally, car can't be driven anymore, so people get out. There's 6 people in the stolen car. They start to run. Police were able to catch 4 of these 6 people. Would you like to guess the ages of the 4 that were caught? If you would say 20, you would be wrong. If you would say 18, you would be wrong. Here's the deal. 3 girls, now they caught 4. 3 girls, 2 of them age 12. 1 age 13, and a 16-year-old boy, all from Milwaukee. Don't know about the other 2, don't know who was driving, so you have 6 kids in a stolen car driving 100 miles an hour, fleeing from the cops, and the 4 that were caught, 2 12-year-old girls, a 13-year-old girl, and a 16-year-old boy. I think it is reasonable to presume that the 2 that got away were of that same age as well. But the oldest one is 16, and the youngest one is 12. There are 12-year-old kids out at about 1 o'clock in the morning on what would purport to be a school night, driving around in a car that presumably they were involved in stealing and leading the police on a high-speed chase. Our number is 855-616-1620. That is the Old National Bank talk and text line. This stuff has to stop. It is a miracle that one of these juvenile delinquents did not kill somebody when they were fleeing from the police, or kill themselves when they lose control of the car. And there's something wrong when 12 and 13-year-olds feel that, hey, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm out driving the stolen car, and I'm going to flee from the cops. I think 2 things need to happen. Number 1, the parents who are clearly punched out need to be held responsible in some meaningful sort of fashion. And maybe it's a change in the law to hold them criminally accountable. At the very least, they need to be fined for losing control of their no good kids. That's number 1. Did he say no good kids? Yes, no good kids. Number 2, I don't know what has happened to these 4 kids because they're juveniles and this doesn't get disclosed. But I will bet you there is a better than even chance that all of them are back out on the streets. At least the 12-year-olds and the 13-year-olds, maybe the 16-year-old is in detention, but my guess is that the majority of them are back out on the streets, sent back to the same mother and dad or grandfather and grandmother who cannot control them in the first place. If you do something like this, you should be detained. And I'm not talking about just for 12 hours or 24 hours. This type of reckless, dangerous behavior should mean that you go to juvenile detention for not just a brief period of time, but 6 months, a year, whatever. And I don't care if you're 12 or if you're 15, this type of antisocial behavior has to stop. And it's not going to stop until we start holding the punks that are doing this accountable and until we start holding the parents who have lost control of their kids, holding them accountable as well. Who in their right mind lets a 12-year-old out on the street at 12:30 or whatever? And by the way, I thought when I last checked, we had a curfew that said that, on school nights, kids were supposed to be at the age of 12, you're supposed to be home by 10 or 11 o'clock or whatever. 855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. Juvenile detention for all the punks and accountability for the parents. Are we ready to say enough is enough, or do we want to wait until the next time one of these 4 boosts a car and when they're fleeing from the cops, they hit and kill somebody? Why do we have to wait until that happens? We understand now, or we should, that we've got a problem. 855-616-1620. We discuss in a minute.
Jeff Wagner is back right after this on WTMJ. Hey, it's Steve Scafidi from WTMJ. I've got some fun and exciting news to share with you all. For the first time ever, you can download my show wherever and everywhere you get your podcasts. That's right, Apple, Google, Spotify, and so much more. Just get on the app, hit play, and tune into me when I talk about all that really matters. Like this. You don't like NFL football. What's wrong with you? Please, people. And of course, this. There's nothing funny about this stuff. Crime in Milwaukee, funny? I don't think so. Keep up with me and all things that matter wherever you get your podcasts.
Now, about your house. Eric Brown is the president of Siding Unlimited, your contractor for new windows, roofing, siding, decks, and a whole lot more. He knows about your house. So what do you know, Eric?
Watch out. That old deck might cost you more than a weekend of upkeep, painting, staining, or replacing old boards. That old deck on the surface may look awful and quite embarrassing in your pictures. Beyond the surface, that old deck could be a potential hazard waiting to happen. There are many inspection points to know if your deck is ready to support your family and friends for the weekend party, or if you've lost trust and need to replace before the big problems happen to you. Many old decks on single-family homes were built by the weekend warrior or the know-it-all do-it-yourselfer. These are weekend projects rushed to be finished by the Sunday evening deadline, maybe even built with a couple cases of beer nearby. Often steps are skipped, process is lost, or even material looked over to finish the job before work on Monday. We find when replacing these types of decks, they were never securely put together to begin with, resulting in the high risk of failure. Not my deck, people say. We use the right stuff. Meanwhile, they never secured or poorly secured the ledger board to the house, didn't use enough or the right hangers, had the wrong lumber to support the size of the deck, or just plain did a bad job. All of which can result in trip hazards, flashing issues, or worse, problems supporting the weight load of your loved ones. As you entertain your family and friends, be proud of how beautiful your deck looks, as well as how you can show off the cool inspection report knowing everyone is safe because your deck was built by the right people.
Eric and his crews at Siding Unlimited are your go-to contractor here for outdoor decks. Also replacement windows, roofing, and of course siding. Take the next step. Check them out at sidingunlimited.com. Siding Unlimited, siding and a whole lot more.
This is Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. So if you're just tuning in, last Wednesday night, Thursday morning, 12:45, a group of kids steal a car in Saukville. I do not know how they got to Saukville. They're from Milwaukee. The police, they're driving the stolen car through Glendale. Police see them, try to pull them over. What starts as they try to make the traffic stop turns into a high-speed chase. Ultimately, the police deploy stop sticks. I've got a video up on my Twitter account. And then they continue driving. The kids continue driving. After that, then run. They catch 4 of them. One is 16. There are 3 girls in the car. One is 13, 2 are 12. 2 12-year-old kids and a 13-year-old kid out at 1 o'clock in the morning in a stolen car, leading police on a high-speed chase. What is wrong with that picture? My point is every one of those kids should be in juvenile detention, and they should be in juvenile detention for a period of several months at least. And where are the parents? Don't we have curfews? Remember last summer after we had this incident in, on Water Street, didn't we have these press conferences saying, hey, we're going to issue, we're going to hold people accountable. We're going to issue tickets for curfew violations and things like that. Where is this nowadays? You got to go after the parents if they're going to do a lousy job and let their kids run the streets, but you have to also go after the kids. And I'm sorry, there's something wrong with you if you're 12 years old and you're doing stuff like this. Let's start with Kurt in Oak Creek. Kurt, you're on WTMJ.
Good morning, sir. Thank
Hi.
you.
Good. What do you think?
I truly believe that we need to learn what the laws are and why the officers who are sworn to uphold those laws are not, if they are not, why not? The percentage of accidents have gone down, or tickets and such. They're not charging. And if they're not charging, why is the court letting this happen?
Oh, well, thanks for calling. That's a fair question. I mean, these of course are juveniles. And so it's almost impossible, because we protect juveniles, it's almost impossible to figure out what's going on. But I will tell you, and this to me, it's not an enforcement problem, at least in this particular case. The police chase, they make arrests, and then what ends up happening is many cases the DA's office decides not to charge. But even if the DA's office decides to charge, then you get into court and you have these judges that bend over backwards to turn people loose. That's why, wouldn't it be interesting to know what's going on with these two 12-year-olds and the 13-year-old, not to mention the 16-year-old? But my guess is they're not in juvenile detention. This was a week ago. My guess is they were held for a few hours and that they were turned loose, and that nothing other than a slap on the wrist is going to happen to them. Oh, we want to get you, we want to get you some rehabilitation. Well, I'm not against rehabilitation, but there needs to be some degree of accountability. And sending a 12-year-old who's involved in stealing a car and leading cops on a high-speed chase, sending them back to the same parents who obviously have no control over the kid and no desire to control the kid or no ability to control the kid, that doesn't do anything at all. And what we know from past experience is going to happen is that one of these 12 or 13-year-olds or the 16-year-old or the two other ones who were able to escape, they're going to do it again. And there's a decent chance that when they do it again and they're running from the cops, they're going to hit and kill somebody. And it could be somebody you love. It could be somebody that loves you. It could be a friend of yours. It could, who knows? It could be one of your kids. This could be something that happens because you have people that just flat out don't care. And we allow them to be out on the street over and over and over again. We're building a new juvenile facility at the cost of tens of millions of dollars, and it's going to have 30-some beds in it. It's going to be filled the minute they finally open the doors on that. That we don't need smaller youth facilities. We need larger youth facilities because 12 and 13-year-olds who are doing stuff like this need to learn that there are consequences. And as far as the parents, well, I mean, they need to start being held accountable as well. Jeff, thanks for continuing to passionately discuss these out-of-control youths. I wonder if the mayor, who promised bold action on this type of crime, cares as much as you do. Well, no, I don't know that that's fair, but the mayor, as well as people on the Common Council, as well as people in the DA's office, as well as people in the court system, it's not a question of caring, but they're not willing to do what needs to be done because they don't want to antagonize certain segments of the community. They don't want to say, oh, we're trying to incarcerate our way out of problems. Well, what we know is not holding people accountable, not sending people to juvenile detention, not sending people to prison. We know that doesn't work. We talked about at the start of the show yesterday, this story where you had these two idiots who lead police on a high-speed chase through Whitefish Bay, darn near kill a couple people, but they're lucky they don't. And, they finally get caught when they try to run away. And, you've got a judge in Milwaukee County that puts them on probation. I mean, but what is the purpose of all this? I mean, there's no question about it. Jeff, you talk about this, but you never want to talk about where we're going to incarcerate juveniles. Yes, I do. I talk about this all the time. The new facility that they are building is woefully inadequate. You need the capacity of 300 people. And the Secretary of the Department of Corrections, Kevin Carr, says, well, we don't want to give it an institutionalized setting. Are you nuts? Of course you want to do that. We need to get people off the street. This idea that, hey, we're doing people a favor by not putting dangerous people off the street, by not teaching that there's consequences, it's not working. And if you don't believe me, again, follow me on Twitter. It's at Jeff Wagner 620. Look at the video of this chase, and you're going to go, my God, these are 12-year-olds that are involved with this? And my guess is they're not going to be held accountable at all until the next time they steal a car and they hit and kill somebody. And then we're all going to be asking, if we even find out, because we protect juvenile records, we might not even know that 14-year-old that kills somebody a year and a half from now was the 12-year-old who was involved in this thing the other night. It is going to happen just like night follows day. Back with more in just a minute. This is Jeff Wagner.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this.
There are heroes among us who run toward danger rather than away from it. We call them first responders. This is Steve Scafidi. WTMJ is partnering with Educators Credit Union to honor police officers, firefighters, and countless others who work every day to protect our families and loved ones. Do you have a first responder you would like to nominate? Go to WTMJ.com, click on the Salute to Service banner, and share your story. We'll bring you the incredible stories during Salute to Service month in May.
Steve Scafidi's Salute to Service with Educators Credit Union. Details now at WTMJ.com.
You can search for the biggest bat selection, but I'm here to save you time because the best baseball and softball bat selection in the Midwest is right here at Burkhardt Sporting Goods. We stock just about every bat on the market from all the top manufacturers like Easton, DeMarini, Louisville Slugger, Marucci, and more, and sell them all at the guaranteed lowest prices. So get in here and try a few out in our indoor batting cages. There's no need to look any further because when it comes to bats, if you want it, we got it at Burkhardt Sporting Goods.
You can't beat Burkhardt.
When you run a team, you want great uniforms, and you know selling spiritware is vital. That's why Burkhardt Sporting Goods will create a free custom website for you to sell your families and players the coolest spiritware from Nike and Under Armour, as well as the basics, while helping you fundraise at the same time. We take the hassle out of coordinating your team's apparel and make shopping and buying easy. So when you need awesome spiritware and uniforms for your organization, you can't beat Burkhardt.
You can't beat Burkhardt.
If you need a place for new home interior ideas, then you have to come talk to us. Our on-staff decorators know furniture, home decor, and a lot more. And they're not only creative, but also very willing to help you make great choices. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating taste come to find premium home decor at a value. Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee. Stop in often because our inventory changes daily.
Design Exchange.
Previously, it has been gently loved, but here you'll only find very well-conditioned premium home decor items that you likely won't find elsewhere. Distinctive furniture, unique antiques, and original art, and other tasteful home decor at a value. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating taste come to find premium home decor on consignment at 25 to 40% off retail prices in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
What if you could build a six-figure retirement income with almost half the money saved? You heard that right. Get a discount on your retirement, creating a six-figure income with 40% less than traditional 401ks and mutual funds. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, best-selling author and executive producer of a new Hollywood documentary called The Baby Boomer Dilemma. In this film, economists and Nobel Prize-winning PhDs from Wharton, MIT, and Stanford share a strange concept I call the retirement discount. It gives you more retirement income with the same dollar saved, and your money is never at risk if the market crashes. That's right. If the market crashes 30%, you lose nothing. Even people who are on track have shifted money to this new strategy because it increases their retirement income or can allow them to stop working years sooner. So if you are over 50 and want a bigger, better retirement with less money, call to get a free copy of this brand new movie, 1-800-578-3535. This is a $30 value, but when you call today, you get it completely free, plus 2 hours of bonus behind-the-scenes footage. No credit card required. Call right now. 1-800-578-3535. That's 1-800-578-3535. Again, 1-800-578-3535.
Welcome back to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
So very glad to have you with us. WTMJ Breaking News time is 12:33 p.m. And from the WTMJ Breaking News Center, here he is, the one, the only, Eric Bilstead.
Thank you, sir. A bipartisan leadership retreat in Racine, Jeff, for state lawmakers. Assembly Speaker Robin Vos and Minority Leader Greta Neubauer brought their leadership teams together in Racine for a conference. In a statement today, they say they're cultivating paths to find common ground. President Biden is formally announcing that he is seeking re-election. A bomb threat at Milwaukee Lutheran High School. Police tell us that threat was made this morning. K-9 units found no explosives. Classes were not affected. And activist and entertainer Harry Belafonte has passed away at the age of 96. Time now for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Right now, the Dow is down 297 to 33,577. The NASDAQ is down 178 to 11,858. And the S&P is down 52 to 4,084. Get on track with investment and retirement planning. Visit annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button today. Checking the roads now with your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. 94 eastbound, Highway 16 through the zoo into downtown. So far, so good there. That's about a 17-minute ride. Westbound is also clear. All the way out, it should be about the same, 17 or 18 minutes.
Traffic is
4145
sponsored by-
southbound, Highway Q to the Zoo is on time at 15. 43 northbound, no issues there from downtown up to Browndy Road. That'll take you 12. And 94 to the south from the Marquette to Layton on time. That's a 7-minute ride. The WTMJ 5-day forecast. Partly sunny today, a high of 46. Tonight, clear sky, a low of 33. Wednesday, sunny, a high of 48. Thursday, partly cloudy, a high of 58. Friday, high of 58. Saturday, rain's likely, a high of 55 on Saturday. Right now in Milwaukee, it's 42 degrees. I'm Eric Bilstead, Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 12:35.
I'm Jeff Wagner. Coming up next, goodbye, farewell, amen.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this on WTMJ.
Traffic is sponsored by TaybackAttorneys.com. Veterans benefits denied? Call Tayback for the payback. Tayback Law fights for those who fought for us. If you're a vet and have been wrongfully denied the VA benefits you're entitled to, call Tayback for the payback. TaybackAttorneys.com.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom-quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Stop into Ken Michaels Furniture for our sale on Bradington Young, made in the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains. Bradington Young is an American icon in quality leather upholstery. Whether you're looking for power recliners or stationary seating, BY's Furniture is made with enduring quality, outstanding comfort, and timeless styling. Save 35% now on Bradington Young upholstery at Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield and Greenfield. Visit us today.
With so much confusion in our world, I trust Catholic schools because they partner with us parents, and what they're teaching is in line with our values. Every day starts with prayer, and the focus on faith is shaping their character and helping prepare my kids for life, giving them the conviction to do what's right. My kids are getting a great education at Catholic schools, and I encourage your family to join us.
Catholic schools. Be a part of something greater. Find a Catholic school near you at archmill.org/greater.
Outdoor living is great, but it's best when it's at your own home. Well, there's a company called Outdoor Living Unlimited that will build you a deck, a patio, pergola, fire pit, all manner of things to enhance outdoor living at your place, even an outdoor kitchen. Get started right away. Contact Outdoor Living Unlimited now. Get your yard project onto Outdoor Living Unlimited's calendar while there's still openings. OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
Welcome back to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
One final thought on what we were talking about before, and part of the reason why it's tough to ever hold people accountable is you do have some people who just never believe in that. And here's one of our texts, and thankfully it's not many people I think have this. But Jeff, you think the passengers, and of course we're talking about two 12-year-olds, a 13-year-old, a 16-year-old, and two other people who steal a car. The car is stolen in Saukville, lead the cops on a high-speed chase. It's 1 o'clock in the morning last week. You think the passengers should be separated from their families? Why? They did not flee. All they did was hang out with a bad crowd and were out too late at night. The passengers did not lead the high-speed chase, but you want them locked up? Wow, absolutely I do. This whole, these kids were just victims. These 12-year-olds were in the back seat begging the driver to stop. No, and the evidence I have to dispute that is when the car ultimately was brought down, they all got out and fled. It's not like 2 or 3 sat in the car and said, here, we were prisoners in this car. No, my guess is all 6 of the people that were in the car were involved in stealing it. But okay, could be a couple people stole the car and then went out and picked up the bunch of them to go on a joyride. But yes, we call this aiding and abetting. We call it party to a conspiracy. Yes, absolutely. The passengers are not innocent victims, once again, as evidenced by the fact that they all fled. And yes, I want them all locked up. And if one of them kills somebody that the texter knows the next time they do this, and there will be a next time, then my texter will be sorry they disagreed with me. It's just the simple fact of the matter. Oh, these kids were victims. You can't separate them. Okay. I mean, again, maybe this just shows how through the looking glass we've gone. But can you imagine at the age of 12, your parents allowing you to run the streets, leading the cops on a high-speed chase, or even being in a vehicle that's leading the cops on a high-speed chase and then running from the police after the car is disabled? I will tell you, these 6 kids, they're lucky they're alive. By that, I mean, if you got a 16-year-old or the 13-year-old or a 12-year-old that's driving the stolen car, they hit the stop sticks, they're going 100 miles an hour, chances are better than even that they're going to lose control of the car, they're going to plow into a light pole or a telephone pole or drive into a ravine. It's but for the grace of God that they didn't kill somebody else, and it's but for the grace of God that they didn't kill themselves. And somebody says, well, I'm sure the kids have learned their lesson. Yeah, I'll bet they've learned their lesson. Okay, let us switch gears. The news from yesterday afternoon was the fact that the Packers have finally traded Aaron Rodgers to the New York Jets. I think the deal was actually pretty good, given the fact that the Packers didn't want Aaron Rodgers anymore, and they didn't want to pay this enormous salary that they had agreed to a year ago, which, I mean, clearly in retrospect, that was the mistake. The mistake was entering into this big contract with him a year ago, so that they wanted out. So you've got something that the Packers did not want any longer. It's kind of like, okay, I've got a used car, I've got a new car coming, I don't want the used car anymore, what can I get for it? And for the used car that is Aaron Rodgers, which is at one point in time a really, really elite sort of car, the Packers were able to move up 2 spaces in this draft. They picked up a second-round pick in this year's draft, and they got a second-round pick next year, which will probably elevate to a first-round pick. So, I think the Packers did very, very well in this deal. There were also some other considerations, but given the fact that the parties were where they were, I give the Packers credit. I think they got as much, if not more, than it was reasonable to expect for Aaron Rodgers. So that the Aaron Rodgers saga in Green Bay ends. He's out the door, and I think it is somewhat sad. I mean, he had a great career at Green Bay. You can say he should have won more Super Bowls. I think that would be fair. You could say that he underperformed in big games. I think that would be fair. But at the same time, he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. And you might be able to make an argument that just looking at the numbers and stuff, he's maybe the greatest quarterback in Green Bay history. So it's sort of a sad ending to that. But I concede that for most people, his prima donna ways, his me-first attitude, and his declining skill set and his failure to be able to deliver in big games over the years, I think that turned off a lot of Packers fans. And as we've been saying before, let's go back to the basic premise. He's also a weird dude. There's no question. He's a weird dude. Now, you get to be weird dudes. There's nothing wrong with that. But he's a weird dude. And I think the general attitude of most people is it's time to move on. And I think the Packers did well, like I say. Here's what I want to discuss with you. And this, I was actually talking about this with a couple people last night. Aaron Rodgers is going to be a New York Jet. The Packers' compensation, the draft pick next year, is not dependent on whether the Jets go to the Super Bowl or not. It's not dependent on whether the Jets make the playoffs. It's simply dependent on, how many snaps he plays. Does he play 60% or 65%, whatever the number is? So whether he does well or poorly isn't really going to matter unless he's so terrible that they bench him, and I don't think that that's going to happen. But here is my question. Aaron Rodgers is going to play for the New York Jets. My question is this. Do you wish him well? Do you hope, and I need you to be honest with this, do you hope he does well playing for the New York Jets, or do you hope that this is a complete bust and he ends up not being the quarterback he was 5 years ago? 855-616-1620, that's the Old National Bank talk and text line, and I need you to be honest. Are you going to be rooting for Aaron Rodgers to succeed? Are you going to be rooting for the New York Jets next year? They're not playing the Packers. They don't play in the Packers conference. So it's really, it's no skin off anybody's nose. How well New York does, the Jets do, doesn't really impact on the Packers' success one way or the other. Are you going to be rooting for Aaron Rodgers to succeed, or do you hope he falls flat on his face? 855-616-1620. Be honest. We discuss in just a moment.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this.
Here's a great way to brighten up your Monday and Tuesday. Enjoy a free dinner from the award-winning Fox and Hounds restaurant near Holy Hill. With unique atmosphere, friendly staff, and free dinner, it's the best dining value in the state. Enjoy a fabulous steak, seafood, pasta, a fresh salad, anything on the menu. And your second dinner is free. Ice cream, drinks, and desserts, too. 100 wines and 25 bourbons will accent your dinner. The Fox and Hounds is tucked into the Kettle Moraine. It is magical. Perfect to celebrate a birthday, anniversary, retirement, or just a quiet, free dinner with your spouse. It's just off Highway 167, 2 miles east of Holy Hill. With the trees budding and flowers blooming, the spring drive through the Kettle Moraine Forest is just beautiful. It's a must-see. Step away from your kitchen. Enjoy a free dinner from the award-winning Fox and Hounds restaurant near Holy Hill. foxandhoundsrestaurant.com.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No, we tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our clients' best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured, so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly, different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Earn points every time you shop with Fleet Rewards. 500 points gets you a $5 reward. It's free and easy to sign up, in-store or online. Sign up today and start saving with Fleet Rewards at Fleet Farm.
Hey, boaters!
Now, I wasn't eavesdropping. I just happened to overhear him talking about us. He said if you know what you're looking for, just rummage around. You'll find it. And it's true, because we stock more boat parts and accessories than anyone. Even those oddball parts you thought you'd never find. This is Dave Doro, and boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey, boaters! Cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water. Hey, boaters!
Truly the best supplier around for all of our boating needs. This place is magic. I call it my candy store for boating parts. This is Dave Doro from Kendor Marine. And yeah, I said it, but these are the actual words of our satisfied and loyal customers. Boaters in the know exactly where to go, and there's a reason. We've got it all for our boater buddies. Kendor Marine, 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey, boaters! Cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water.
Welcome back to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
So long, farewell, our readers say adieu.
Adieu, adieu, to you and you and you.
That's pretty clever, Charlie. Jeff Wagner, WTMJ. Okay, here is my question. Do you wish Aaron Rodgers well? Aaron Rodgers' success, assuming he plays his 65% of the snaps or whatever with the New York Jets, and the Packers then get a first-round pick instead of a second-round pick. Beyond that, it doesn't matter as a practical matter unless the teams meet in the Super Bowl. It doesn't matter, how well Aaron Rodgers does. Do you wish him well? Do you hope he goes on and has, say, an MVP season for the New York Jets, or do you hope he falls flat on his face? Be honest. Let's start with Dick in West Bend. Dick, you're on WTMJ.
Hi, Jeff. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
To be honest with you, I hope that he falls flat on his face. Reason being is because we gave him everything we had last year, receivers and everything else. And, we still didn't do it, and that's fine. It's not all on him. But,
yeah.
No,
Okay, good enough. Thanks. No, you hope he falls flat on his face. That's your honest, and I get it. That was my question. Okay, fair enough. Thanks. This is the question I have. Jeff, which team is picking up his guaranteed $59 million salary? The Jets are. The Packers. It kind of puts him in a hole this year because what happens is over the course of his various contracts, they took, for salary cap purposes, they were able to delay money. And when you trade somebody, that all comes due. So the Packers take, I believe, a $40 million hit. They call it dead money, that their salary cap takes a $40 million hit this year. But it's off the books. Once you get past this year, the Aaron Rodgers money is over. And as far as actually having to write him a check for the contract, the New York Jets have to write him the contract. 855-616-1620. Jeff, I'm not proud of it, but I hope he helps the Jets make the playoff, gets a lot of fanfare, then plays awful in the playoffs like he did every year except one, when he was a Packer. Jeff, now that we know for sure that Rodgers is going to New York, that proves that Rodgers wanted to retire from professional football. Ouch. Jeff, I think he's a punk. I hope he gets crushed. Jeff, I wish no ill to Rodgers, but as a Packer fan, I hope he's a huge failure, so their first-round pick is a number one. That's an interesting way of doing it. Let's talk to Mitch in Whitefish Bay. Mitch, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Hey, Jeff, thanks so much for taking my call.
Thanks for calling. Do you wish him well? Do you hope he succeeds, or are you going to be rooting against him? Be honest.
65%, baby. I hope he hits that 65% number, and I hope I don't hope he flames out miraculously, but I do hope that there is some level of taking down of his pomposity. I just think, there's such a lack of hubris and humility, and I would love to see, and I don't even think he's capable of it at this point in his life. Maybe it'll take 10 years from now for him to look back and realize what he did in Green Bay. But I am not rooting for him to win. I'm not rooting for him to win at all. Part of me wants to see him pull a Favre and win big, and then blow it in the playoffs before getting to the Super Bowl to make it even more sweet and appropriate. But I absolutely am not rooting for the Jets. First of all, I'm not rooting for the Jets.
Right.
But second of all, I'm not rooting for him on the Jets either.
Okay, thanks for the call. It's interesting. I remember when Favre went to the Jets, and if you remember, whatever local TV station, back then the AFC games, now they kind of cross over more, but back then the NFC games were on Fox and the AFC games were on CBS, as I recall, and the local CBS affiliate, it seemed to me that they showed Jets games every week. And I have to admit, I'm going to be honest here, I was kind of rooting for Favre. I saw these situations as different. And, I remember watching the games, and I was hoping that Favre did well when he was playing for the Jets. It was different when he went and played for the Minnesota Vikings because that was a direct rival of the Packers. But that one year that he was playing for the Jets, I was kind of rooting for Favre. I am very, very torn. Will I watch the Jet games? Yes. I'm much more torn. If I had to answer the question I'm asking you, my honest question is I don't know. I think it's going to I'm going to have to kind of wait and see till the games actually roll around. If I'm being honest with you, Jeff, I enjoy too many games watching Rodgers to hate him. Until we play the Jets, I hope he does well. Yeah. Jeff, whatever happens to Aaron Rodgers happens, good or bad. I don't care either way. I do know that his best years are behind him. I think there's an element of that. Jeff, I hope he wins the Super Bowl. Jordan Love will be as good as Brett Hundley. Packers made a mistake by letting him go. I understand the $59 million. Jeff, Aaron did not have good receivers last year. The Packers expected him to win by himself. Okay, well, I don't think it's productive at this point in time to look backwards. What's happened has happened. It is water under the bridge, to use the cliche. My question is, when football season rolls around and Aaron Rodgers is playing for the Jets, are we going to be cheering for him to do well, or are we going to be hoping he falls on his face? And my honest answer is I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted. On the one hand, I appreciate everything he did over the years of the Packers. On the other hand, I think he held the franchise hostage for years. And I don't know, given the way he behaved, it's tough for me to kind of root for him when he's not a Packer. But until actually the games roll around, I'm not sure that I'm going to know definitively one way or the other. Randy in New Berlin. Randy, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Well, good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm good. Okay, you going to be rooting for Aaron Rodgers or not?
Well, I'm just rooting for him so he does just enough to play at 65% of the plays, and so the Packers can end up with a number 1 draft pick. And that's what he does, so be it, and it'd be good for the Packers.
Okay, are you going to be cheering for him to win? Are you hoping that, hey, they go 12-5 or 13-4 and go far in the playoffs? Or is yours just purely, hey, I just want him to play those snaps?
I want him to win enough so he's guaranteed to play enough snaps so they don't put in somebody else. Right. Okay. All right. So I get it. That's just, that's just kind of like we hope he's going to get the deal. And my guess is that he's going to play unless he gets hurt. And I would hope nobody would be out there rooting for him to get injured unless he gets injured. He's going to play 65% of the snaps. You wouldn't make a trade like this. You wouldn't bring in Hall of Fame quarterback and then bench him halfway through the season. I think he's going to be their quarterback this year. So, I think unless he's hurt, this is pretty much, it's an obtainable sort of thing. So I think it's pretty much a dead-on lock, again, unless he gets injured, that he's going to end up, the Packers are going to get a first-round draft pick next year. Now, I guess the best case scenario from the Packers' perspective is he plays his 65% of the snaps and the Jets underachieve or don't do well, and then that's a higher draft pick because it's not conditioned on how well they do. I honestly don't know how I feel about this. I like to think that I'm a big enough guy that I'm going to be rooting, for Aaron Rodgers as a way of saying, gee, since it doesn't really impact the Packers one way or the other, except indirectly through where the draft pick falls, I'm thinking, I'm hoping that I'm a big enough guy to just root for the Jets and hope he does well and he's able to go out and end his career on a high note. I'm not sure that that's how I'm going to feel, though, when things roll around and when I see him throwing interceptions stuff or incomplete passes. Not sure how I'm going to feel about that because secretly, I don't know, that I've got the angel on my left shoulder, I've got that devil on my right shoulder, and they're both whispering in my ear. When we come back, we're going to be talking about Tucker Carlson. We're going to be talking about the high-speed bus line and a number of other things. Stick around. The second hour of the show kicks off right after the top of the hour news.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this.
Uh-oh.
Don't get caught in the worst of Wisconsin. Listen to severe weather coverage on WTMJ, presented by Fleet Farm, proudly serving the Midwest since 1955.
88% of hiring managers want to see better job candidates than they're getting. And it takes an average of 87 hours to manage a single job opening. Let LAK Group help. They streamline the recruiting process, focusing on identifying, selecting, and integrating a sustainable pipeline of diverse talent who fit your company professionally and culturally. Let LAK Group's executive recruiting services help you find great candidates. Visit transformingcareers.com. LAK Group. Discover your human advantage.
All Brewers games are on sale now, including a star-studded battle with the Angels on deck for April 28th through the 30th. Witness some of baseball's biggest names go head-to-head as Corbin Burns and the crew face off against Shohei Ohtani and the Angels. Plus, take home a limited edition Brewers hoodie at the game on Saturday the 29th. Get your seats today at brewers.com/promotions.
There are over 10,000 reasons why steel is not sold at Lowe's or the Home Depot. There are over 10,000 authorized local steel dealers. Find yours at steelusa.com. Lowe's and the Home Depot are trademarks of their respective companies.
Gruber Law Offices, a proud partner of your Milwaukee Brewers.
With inflation on the rise, Wisconsinites are hurting at the gas pump, at the grocery store, and to pay their bills. Now big city lobbyists are pushing for potentially massive property tax hikes, which would put a further burden on your already stretched thin wallet. They are coming after the local property tax levy freeze that has saved taxpayers more than $3.5 billion since 2011. Property taxes are already Wisconsin's most onerous tax, and their proposal would make it worse. Right now, you control your property tax increases by voting in local referenda. The big city lobbyists want to take away your control and allow property taxes to increase automatically without your approval. We must stop this attempt to thaw the property tax freeze. Call your legislator at 800-362-9472 and let them know you appreciate their efforts to protect your hard-earned money. Paid for by the Wisconsin Homeowners Alliance.
In Wisconsin, making memories together is for everyone, whatever your ability. So here's to soaking up surf culture right here on Wisconsin's Fresh Coast. To making time for stargazing as a family. And to imaginations clear for takeoff. Here's to festies with besties. And singing along to your favorite song. Here's to those who Wisconsin. Start your summer getaway at travelwisconsin.com.
At Semper Fi, the path to self-improvement never ends. So it feels good to be good. It's been 20 years, and we'll make sure you feel like you made a great decision to have us work on your next exterior remodeling project.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Ready to downsize and move from your longtime home? Call Bruce's team today. Their senior real estate specialist will guide you every step of the way. Go from overwhelmed to I can do this. 262-242-6177. Bruce'sTeam.com.
James Imaging Systems, your local document imaging partner. JamesImaging.com.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a good karma brand station.
I thought I saw a pussycat.
Our Brewers-Tigers coverage starts tonight at 6:05, only on the home of the Brewers. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 1 o'clock, it is 43 degrees, isolated wintry mix, and then partly sunny with a high of 46 today. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Wyatt Barmore-Pooley. Movement among Republican lawmakers on the effort to legalize marijuana for medical use in Wisconsin.
I think we're getting really close to a spot where this bill can get done.
Senate Majority Leader Devin LeMahieu tells Wisconsin's Morning News his caucus is talking about a medical cannabis bill that could get the votes.
We need just to make sure that it doesn't become, dispensaries essentially giving out marijuana for a non-doctor on some street corner, but that it's actually used for medical purposes.
LeMahieu and other legislative Republicans remain opposed to legalizing marijuana for recreational use. Vince Vitrano, WTMJ News.
The city of Milwaukee's budget is looming, and the cuts to Milwaukee police that may come along with it are stirring mixed reactions. MPD laying out the cuts Monday, which would entail eliminating Police District 6, dissolving the traffic safety unit, and slimming down the police force by 400 officers. Alderman Michael Murphy tells TMJ4 News.
I know people are looking at this and probably saying, oh, this is just not going to happen. This never happened. Hate to disappoint you. This is a 50-50.
Milwaukee Mayor Cavalier Johnson will ultimately sign off on the budget in November. Actor, musician, and activist Harry Belafonte has died at the age of 96. Belafonte is best known for his songs Jump in the Line and the Banana Boat song, but ABC's Trevor Ault says that Belafonte also fought for civil justice all his life.
As one of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s closest confidants, he helped plan the March on Washington in 1963. And even into his 90s, the UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador continued to promote civil rights and peace.
Belafonte also earned the rare EGOT, an Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony Award. And a bomb threat at Milwaukee Lutheran High School. Police tell us the threat was made this morning around 8. K-9 units finding no explosives and classes were not affected. Nobody is in custody. Sports, traffic, and weather coming up next. Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 1:03.
With inflation affecting so many families, the super affordable Mind Chef restaurant in Hartford is better than ever. WTMJ's John Mercure here. I love the Mind Chef. I used to take my daughters there because it's so much fun, it's so much food, and it's family friendly. Every Tuesday is Taco Tuesday. Tacos are just $2.99. Take your kids to the Mine Shaft after school or after practice today. Grandparents, take your grandkids for tacos. They'll love the world-class game room quietly tucked away from the dining area. When you buy one dessert today, you get a second dessert free. Don't pass on that chocolate cake, I'm telling you. Wednesdays, the all-you-can-eat cod fish fry is just $9.99. What a value. The Mine Shaft on Main Street in beautiful downtown Hartford, just off the interstate in Oshkosh. Plenty of seating and close parking. Escape from your kitchen today. Take your family to the Mine Shaft for $2.99 tacos. It's a super affordable lunch or dinner. MineShaftRestaurant.com. It's big food. It's big fun. It's the amazing Mine Shaft Restaurant, MineShaftRestaurant.com.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Brian Wickert back to report even more home buyers paid over the asking price last month, rising to 50% in the 5-county metro area. 3 out of 10 paid $10,000 or more above that list price. The good news is appraised values are generally keeping up with the over-asking offers. Still, the most powerful thing a buyer can do to make their offer the most attractive in a multiple offer situation is to give the seller some appraisal wiggle room. Telling the seller you're willing to pay over the asking price, even if the house appraises lower, sounds scary because most buyers think they have to fill that potential gap with more down payment. But in the vast majority of cases, AccuNet is showing home buyers how they can offer appraisal wiggle room without bringing a nickel more to closing. Appraisal wiggle room is like a good card trick. You need to see it to believe it. So if you're home shopping with a flimsy, unimaginative bank pre-approval, upgrade today to an AccuNet rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval by clicking on the blue button at AccuNet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
Following a Monday night loss to the Tigers at American Family Field, the Brewers and Tigers resume the series tonight. It's Game 2 in Milwaukee with Eric Lauer on the mound for the Brewers, who have lost back-to-back games for the first time this season. Coverage gets underway at 6 o'clock on WTMJ. The Bucs return home from Miami, trailing the Heat 3-1 in their best-of-7 opening round playoff series. The Bucs will need to win 3 straight games to avoid elimination. Wednesday night's game at 8:30 tip from Fiserv Forum. If necessary, Game 6 will be played in Miami on Friday night. And the Packers and Jets agree to a trade compensation package for quarterback Aaron Rodgers that includes Green Bay picking up the number 13 overall pick in this year's draft. Green Bay sends the number 15 pick in this year's draft to New York as part of the deal. Round 1 of the NFL draft will take place Thursday night. Greg Matzek, WTMJ Sports.
Taking a look at your roads, it is your Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic, and everything looks pretty good. There's no accidents up on the board, and checking a look at the cameras, it looks like there's no major delays or slowdowns. It's a smooth ride on this sunny day.
Traffic is sponsored by Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee. Milwaukee Mattress, where top-quality mattresses are priced hundreds less than premium national mattress brands. Found exclusively at Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, and downtown Milwaukee.
Time for the WTMJ 5-day forecast. Isolated wintry mix today, but partly sunny with a high of 46. Tonight, mostly clear, a low of 33. Tomorrow's going to be mostly sunny skies, a high of 48. Thursday, partly cloudy, a high of 58. On Friday, it's going to be partly sunny, a high of 58 as well. And on Saturday, rain is likely with a high of 55. Right now in Madison, it's 45. In Green Bay, it's 45. In Waukesha, it's 41. And in Milwaukee, it is 43 degrees. I'm Wyatt Barmore-Pooley. Sighting Unlimited WTMJ News time is 1:07.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue, it's the Jeff Wagner Show. Now, here's WTMJ's Jeff Wagner.
Good afternoon, Wisconsin. Welcome back to the program. All right, let us be honest. That was a crummy weather forecast. It just was. Rain on Saturdays and stuff, and I understand this is the point in time where it's now April, and some of us who were deceived a couple weeks ago with the idea of spring coming when we had a couple of those 80-degree days, now we're like, oh, for goodness sakes, let's get it warm and things like that. But here's one thing I can guarantee. 99 days from now, the Wisconsin State Fair kicks off. It's August. I can't guarantee it's not going to rain one or two of those days, but I can guarantee you the weather is going to be wonderful. And to talk about the Wisconsin State Fair, we're joined by Jennifer Puente, Chief Marketing Officer with the State Fair, and Jeff McCarthy, who is the VP and Marketing Director at Bank 5-9. Good afternoon to both of you. Got to turn on their microphones there, Charlie. Okay, let's try it again. Good afternoon to both of you. There we go. Okay. Okay. All
Lunch
right.
coma.
There you go. All right, it works really well. Okay. Now, Bank 5-9, Jeff, is the sponsor this year every day of not only our WTMJ broadcast, thank you very much, sir, but also the Bank 5-9 Amphitheater, which is that location it's actually just right down the road from, where our studios are. It's a free stage. And you guys are sponsoring that every day of the State Fair.
We are. It's the largest free stage at the State Fair, and that's really important to us to sponsor that because it's a wide variety of entertainment that the entire family can enjoy. It doesn't cost you anything other than your admission ticket to come and enjoy it. And the State Fair is just all about fun and food and family right here in Wisconsin, and we couldn't be more proud to be part of it.
Well, it's also, Jennifer, it's one of my very favorite stages, not just because it's free, but, I mean, the entertainment. I'm a huge fan of Kids from Wisconsin, as is my wife. We make a special point to see them. But it's so interesting because Here Come the Mummies is going to be on there.
Yes, they're back this year, too.
They are back, and if you haven't seen Here Come the Mummies, you really should. It's quite an entertaining show.
So for those that don't understand what Here Come the Mummies are, they're playing the first Friday and Saturday of the State Fair, so the 4th and 5th. The Mummies, Here Come the Mummies, we affectionately call them the Mummies. They actually dress up like mummies. They're musicians that are part of other bands, and they bring this great funk vibe to the Bank 59 Amphitheater, and it is so much fun to just listen and dance and watch these mummies perform and dance and sing to an amazing crowd. So It's something you cannot miss, and if you've never seen it before, you really got to come see them.
One of the regular performers that plays this year at the Bank 59 Amphitheater is the guy from Hermits, Peter Noon.
That is right. So we affectionately call them the Noonatics. They call themselves the Noonatics. So they'll camp out all day long. And Peter Noon will be with us 2 days as well, Monday and Tuesday of the fair. And again, as Jeff had mentioned, these shows are free with your fair admission, which is just $13 right now through Sunday at wistatefair.com. So if you want to get your fair tickets and you haven't gotten them yet, now is the time to do it. The ticket prices do go up the closer we get to the fair. So this is the lowest price ticket you're going to find. So we're really proud to bring back Peter Noon. He has really become a staple, and everyone loves when he busts out Henry VIII. I know that's my favorite part when he sings, and the whole amphitheater just lights up with everyone singing.
It is. Now, one of the other acts that are performing at the Bank 59 Amphitheater, and it's the Holy Rock and Rollers. And I was down. I have a second place, a condo in Bonita Springs, and I was at a concert, this outdoor concert, and they were performing, and they're really good. It's like Elvis stuff and things like that, and it's a husband and wife. Really interesting story. He was doing prison ministry in South Dakota, and her father, I think, worked for the prison system, whatever, and they met, and they have this love of music, and they go on the road, and they play, again, it's Elvis stuff. It was a great show, and I went up to the guy afterwards when I heard he was, when I heard they were from Minnesota. He said, well, we're playing at the Wisconsin State Fair, and I said, well, you got to come on the air, because they'll be there 4:30 and 5:45 the first 3 nights of the fair, the Holy Rock and Rollers. They were great.
Absolutely. We always really try to have something for everyone, and it's with Bank 59 support that we're able to have such a great lineup. And you had mentioned the kids from Wisconsin.
Yep.
We're actually able to have them all 11 days of the fair this year for the first time. Usually they're outperforming at other places that last Sunday of the fair, but able to have them now all 11 days. So if that's something that is on your bucket list when you come to Wisconsin State Fair, all 11 days you can see the kids from Wisconsin.
Jeff, let's talk a little bit about Bank 59 and the decision to get involved with great events like the Wisconsin State Fair. How many branches do you have in Wisconsin?
Bank 59 has 14 branches. We were founded in Oconomowoc in 1859, so we've been here serving the residents and businesses of Wisconsin for over 160 years. And the State Fair really has a very similar philosophy as we do of giving back to the community, of supporting our residents, supporting our businesses. You walk around the State Fair, and it's obviously very Wisconsin-centric, as it should be, and we're just excited to be part of it. There's not a lot of organizations, I think, that can really thank and show off Wisconsin as well as the fair does, and it's just a perfect fit for us.
It's absolutely outstanding. As we were talking about off the air, as it turns out, there's a Bank 59 branch that literally I live, there's a little pond behind where I live, like a wetlands, and then there's the bank. And
We're
so
right there.
I can go out on my porch and I can wave at your branch manager and stuff like that.
I'll try and get one of those pneumatic tubes right to your condo. You can just make deposits right from there.
See, that's what I like. Okay, so what are some of the other things, Jennifer, that we got coming up at the Wisconsin State Fair? I was looking at, again, the State Fair, the main stage acts. Looks interesting. Alabama is going to be back. Jeff Dunham is going to be playing there. Tommy James and the Shondells. Plus, Trace Atkins is going to be there. REO Speedwagon. You've got quite a lineup.
Correct. And those are on our main stage. And those tickets are available now at wistatefair.com. Those are a separate ticket above and beyond your price of admission. We have 2 more shows that we still have to announce, so stay tuned for that information. But, there's always something coming out with the fair. We have our Cream Puff 5K coming up in July that supports our Wisconsin State Fair Park Foundation. That is a great event as well that we love to support. It's the first time you can get your cream puff all year long. So if you're a cream puff lover, you can go to creampuff5k.com to get signed up for that.
You just have to run 5K before you can get to it.
Well, there's a 1K walking option as well. So if you're not a runner or if you just love seeing the State Fair and the State Fair come together, and maybe if running's not on your agenda, you can still get a cream puff. We won't judge you at all. It's just a great way to come out and participate, and then you can enjoy a concert at Wednesday Night Live after.
Some of the things that I love about the State Fair also is there's so many different places and so many different venues for music. And what I find myself doing after we get done with the broadcast, I'll kind of wander around and I'll go find a place to have a beer or hot dog or whatever I'm going to eat. And I'll wander around and you just find all these different places because there's all these different venues that have everything from, a guy or a gal with a guitar to, small bands or whatever. And you just never know what's going to be there. And you go, hey, this is pretty good. I'm going to sit and listen to them play old Fleetwood Mac songs or whatever it is.
There's so many different personalities that our vendors really put into their places or their locations at State Fair, and we're really proud of that. They've really put their heart and soul into that. Whether you want to hear a Caribbean band or, like you said, some cover bands done, or bluegrass or polka or country, we really do have something for everyone at Wisconsin State Fair, and I think that's what makes us so special, and what makes us such a favorite of our community is that we are who we are, and we're really proud of that. And our commitment to agriculture and families and our community is really important, and it's a great way for us to showcase agriculture to those who maybe aren't familiar, especially those that are, living in the city of Milwaukee or spend more time in the city than they do in the country, that they can come see the animals and learn that chocolate milk does not actually come from a brown cow. It is chocolate added to white milk. And, it's our responsibility to celebrate agriculture in that way. And it's, because of our great partnerships and our great event that we're able to do those things.
Years ago, my niece, who is now finishing up her junior year in law school, when she was a little girl, we took her to the State Fair, and she went into the bunny barn, and she wanted, there was like hundreds and hundreds of bunny cages. She wanted to stop at each one and just like stand there and stare at the bunnies. Now, they were all cool, but after a while, it's like one rabbit looks like another rabbit. It's kind of like, okay, time to head for the giant slide or whatever. But that's the thing. There's something for everybody at the State Fair.
You're right. And, here when we're in this 100-day countdown, we're waiting for the weather to get nice. We're so excited to be able to make these great announcements on music and great partners like Jeff.
Okay, so once again, for people who want to get tickets, $13 if you buy it before
Sunday at wistatefair.com.
Okay, and also people should be on the lookout because there's also, as time goes on, there's also going to be other opportunities to get into the fair for reduced prices or things like that, with bringing different food items or things like that, right?
Correct. Starting May 1st, we'll start announcing some of our partner promotions. We have lots of other things up our sleeves, deals, announcements, things like that we'll be announcing throughout the summer. And then, of course, as we get into June, our new foods and our sporkies that everybody loves to talk about. But there's lots of exciting things as we begin this 100-day countdown. And we're so excited to kick this off with a great partner like Bank 5-9 and really start unveiling this amphitheater lineup. And but yeah, we've got a lot of things that we'll be talking about from here on out to the State Fair. And these 100 days are going to go quick, and the opening day of the State Fair on August 3rd. It'll be here before you know it.
Okay, Jennifer Puente, who is the Chief Marketing Officer for the Wisconsin State Fair, and Jeff McCarthy, VP and Marketing Director at Bank 59. Thanks for doing this, because this stuff doesn't happen unless you have great corporate citizens like Bank 59 that are willing to step up and sponsor these events and underwrite some of the costs.
It's really our pleasure to do so. So thanks for having us today.
Absolutely. Now you be sure and stop by, because you are also, Bank 59 is also going to be sponsoring our broadcasts every day from the State Fair.
Every day, yeah. We're doubling down on the fair this year. So we've got the amphitheater, of course, but working with you guys as well, and can't wait to be part of the broadcasts while you're there. It's, as you know, the energy can't be beat at State Fair, and I know we're looking for more and more ways to get involved. So we're happy to work with both of you guys.
Okay, well, I'm sure Jennifer's got some ideas as to ways to get involved. I have that. All right, thanks to both of you coming in. Wisconsin State Fair, 99 days from now. Back with more of the show in just a minute. This is Jeff Wagner.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this. Wisconsin's Morning News.
The decision that the FPC made last night, I don't think it makes us safer.
Join Vince Petrano every weekday starting at 5 a.m.
The FPC in its decision could have listened to all voices, and at the very least, I'll grant them some room here, could have reached a compromise.
Start the day with what you need to know.
The FPC could at least have given our law enforcement professionals some avenue to participate in the process of this relief. I thought they made the wrong decision.
On Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio WTMJ.
Hey, this is WTMJ's Jeff Wagner, here to tell you about Built Right Furniture's 5th generation mattress sale. Shop the most unique selection with over 60 models and 500 mattresses in stock. Look, Built Right always saves you money. Don't make a mistake by ordering online or from an employee-free store. With Built Right's legitimate sale prices, you will get an exceptional value and a great night's sleep. Built Right does the research for you, and their team will take the time to help fit you. Built Right specializes in flippable two-sided mattresses and heavy-duty mattresses that hold up to 600 pounds. Plus, they offer free delivery on mattress-only purchases of $5.99 or more, and they'll remove your old mattress as well. Select model sets include a free mattress pad or heavy-duty bed frame. Voted best place to shop and winner of the Home Furnishings Association's 2023 National Retailer of the Year Award. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. for personalized shopping. No problem. Call to book an appointment. Sunday they're closed to be with family, as always. When you get there, they love to hear this. Do yourself a favor. Do me a favor, too. Tell them WTMJ's Jeff Wagner sent you to locally and family-owned Built Right, 5430 West Layton Avenue in Greenfield.
If you're a veteran, on active duty, reserve, or a military spouse, this is your wake-up call. It's time for basic training to be an entrepreneur. If you've ever wanted to own your own business, the Veterans Business Outreach Center is here for you. Get started today by texting the word VETERAN to 855-616-1620. The Veterans Business Outreach Center helps veterans of all eras. Just text VETERAN to 855-616-1620. The VBOC is an official program of the Small Business Administration and hosted by the Wisconsin Women's Business Initiative Corporation.
Jeff and Roxanne here with Rhino Shield Ceramic Coating. Never paint your house again.
Rhino Shield will keep 100% of the rain and 90% of the heat from penetrating your house.
And it looks just like paint, but will last 5 times longer, and it's guaranteed for 25 years.
And it still comes in any color, as long as it's your wife's favorite.
Get 25% off their 25-year warranty if you book by the 25th. Call 262-900-4055 or visit rhinoshield.com.
Go Rhino Shield!
Back for more. Here's WTMJ's Jeff Wagner.
So, very glad to have you with us. Yeah, it's it's kind of fun to talk about things like the State Fair and all, because it's like, all right, I'm ready for summer to come. I'm ready for the warmer weather, and that's it. I can't guarantee you that it's not going to rain a couple days at the State Fair. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But it's not going to snow. I guarantee you in August, you are not going to be getting forecast of, well, there might be a wintry mix. Not going to happen in August. Hey, something that's happening today that kind of surprises me in a little bit. Remember years ago, there was the show called That 70s Show, and they did a reboot earlier this year on Netflix where they called it That 90s Show, but it was That 70s Show, and it was set in southeastern Wisconsin. It was very popular for its time. One of the actors on that show was a guy named Danny Masterson. He played the character Hyde, if you ever watched that. What ended up, it was sort of interesting because he is involved in the Church of Scientology. And what happened is, a number of years after the fact, various women who were also they were also Scientologists, they came forward and they said that he had sexually assaulted them over a period of years. And the women have different stories and it's different sort of circumstances. And in some respects, the decision was, their argument was, well, one of the reasons we didn't come forward in a timely sort of fashion is because we're Scientologists, and the church discourages people from going to law enforcement if they're making claims against people who are other members of the church. And some of these women were saying, well, and if we had done this and we had come forward in a timely fashion, our parents would have disowned us, et cetera. It was sort of complicated. So anyhow, the case went to trial last year, and the jury was unable to reach a verdict. Apparently, there were 3 different rape charges. On one of the rape, and what happens is you have to agree on guilt or innocence unanimously. And the question is, has the government, has the state proved somebody's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt? And you need to have all 12 jurors agree either yes or no. And otherwise, you get what's called a hung jury. It doesn't happen that often. But in this particular case, on one of the rape charges, the jury hung on all of the counts. On one of the rape charges, apparently only 2 of the 12 jurors wanted to find him guilty. So 10 out of the 12 believed that the state had failed to meet its burden of proof. On a second rape charge, 4 were in favor of a guilty verdict. That would mean 7 were not. And on the third rape charge, 5 voted to convict, and that means that 7 didn't. So 4 and 8, 5 and 7, there's 12 jurors. So in no case did they have the majority of jurors who believed the state had proved its case beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, what's interesting is typically when you have hung juries like this, if the prosecution goes back and looks and says, okay, we had a holdout juror. We had 10 out of the 12 jurors or 11 out of the 12 jurors who were voting to convict. Well, in that case, it's generally speaking, it's an easy decision. You say, okay, we're going to try him again because the problem wasn't necessarily with our case. The problem was you had this one juror or 2 jurors who dug in their heels. But almost always, based on my experience, when there is a retrial after a hung jury, it's because the overwhelming number of jurors thought that there was enough enough evidence to convict somebody beyond a reasonable doubt. That was not the case in this, because for none of the counts did they have more than a majority of jurors who believed that the person that they had proven that he was in fact guilty. I bring this up because this week the prosecution has made the decision to recharge and retry Danny Masterson. And so they're going back to court, and they're hoping to get a different result with a different jury. I take no position on what happened and whether or not he's guilty or not. I just make the observation that what is going on in this Los Angeles courtroom is extremely unusual, to retry somebody on charges where the jury hung, but the majority of jurors decided that the state hadn't met its burden of proof. Now, I don't know how this is all going to play out. In the opening statements, apparently the prosecution is actually, as much as they're trying Danny Masterson, they're trying Scientology. They're kind of going after the church and stuff. So I don't know how this is all going to play out, other than I was surprised to see that they made the decision to retry him, given the fact that they came so woefully short last time in being able to convince jurors that they had enough evidence to prove guilt. Whether they have new evidence this time, I don't think so, or whether they're just hoping a different jury looks at the evidence and repackages it and takes a different position, I don't know. But it's unusual to make a decision to retry a case like this when it wasn't a situation where you had the vast majority of jurors who were set to convict. How it's going to turn out, I don't know. But for those of you who were fans of that 70s show back in the day, and you remember the Danny Masterson character, he's back on trial, accused of sexual assault. And the sexual assaults, they go back 20-some years to when it was the height of fame. One of the people who's making the claim was his long-standing girlfriend. I think they had dated for like 6 years. Again, I take no position on whether he's guilty guilty or not, just that it's interesting to me that they're retrying him after getting a hung jury and not being able to persuade at least a majority of the jurors the first time that their evidence was sufficient to convict him beyond a reasonable doubt. Back with more in just a minute. This is Jeff Wagner.
More Jeff Wagner right after this. 8th series of the year, and these young guns are earning their stripes. The Brewers take on the Tigers tonight. Our Brewers Radio Network game day coverage starts tonight at 6:05. Presented by American Family Insurance. We are the home of the Brewers. They're great. WTMJ.
What if you could build a six-figure retirement income with almost half the money saved? You heard that right. Get a discount on your retirement, creating a six-figure income with 40% less than traditional 401ks and mutual funds. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, best-selling author and executive producer of a new Hollywood documentary called The Baby Boomer Dilemma. In this film, economists and Nobel Prize-winning PhDs from Wharton, MIT, and Stanford share a strange concept I call the retirement discount. It gives you more retirement income with the same dollar saved, and your money is never at risk if the market crashes. That's right. If the market crashes 30%, you lose nothing. Even people who are on track have shifted money to this new strategy because it increases their retirement income or can allow them to stop working years sooner. So if you are over 50 and want a bigger, better retirement with less money, call to get a free copy of this brand new movie, 1-800-578-3535. This is a $30 value, but when you call today, you get it completely free, plus 2 hours of bonus behind-the-scenes footage. No credit card required. Call right now. 1-800-578-3535. That's 1-800-578-3535. Again, 1-800-578-3535.
You might not think of Burkhart for corporate uniforms and other business apparel, but you should, because a lot of businesses do. And it's because most times we're cheaper than our competition on the same high-quality apparel choices that the other guys offer, plus Nike and Under Armour that the other guys can't get. So for businesses and corporations, if you want your employees to look great while representing your brand, and you want to get your apparel for less, you can't beat Burkhart, your business uniform specialists.
You can't beat Burkhart.
The task of lining up your group apparel sales can take up a lot of your time, but Burkhart Sporting Goods can make it so easy. The group sale web stores that we provide our customers at no charge to line up their team or corporate apparel sales is a simple way of gathering all the info you need. It's easy to work, easy to understand, and with it, you'll have access to nearly limitless options. This is Brian Burkhart with Burkhart Sporting Goods. Give us a call and let us show you just how easy group apparel sales can be.
You can't beat Burkhart.
Advent founder Dr. Madan Kandula.
If you were formally breathing properly and we just plugged your nose up, you're not going to like it. You're not going to like it for a few minutes. You're not going to like it for an hour. You wouldn't stand it for a day. If we're talking weeks, you're going to be clawing at the walls to get that thing off. And if we're talking months to years to decades, many of our patients are basically walking around with clothespins on their nose and they don't know any difference. They've never experienced what life is supposed to be like when you breathe properly, and so for them, they feel like it's normal. It should be no surprise that many of the folks that we treat have downstream conditions. So if somebody's nose isn't working properly, if somebody's throat isn't working properly, they're not breathing properly. And when you don't breathe properly, it creates problems for your body.
When you breathe well, you live better. Go to adventnose.com to schedule your appointment today.
Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventNose.com.
Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
WTMJ breaking news time is 1:32 p.m. from the WTMJ Breaking News Center. Here's Wyatt Barmore-Pooley.
Thanks, Jeff. A new proposed East Side apartment has officially advanced through the early stage of its Milwaukee review process. The new building would rise on the lot neighboring the now closed Renaissance Place venue near Curtis and Prospect. It would be 25 stories tall, house over 300 apartments, and include 7 floors fully dedicated to parking. Monday's unanimous approval by the City Planning Commission will now send the project to the Common Council's Zoning, Neighborhoods, and Development Committee for further review. Harry Belafonte has died at the age of 96. His publicist says the award-winning actor and singer died at his New York City home today. Belafonte sold millions of records. He was one of the first black performers to gain a wide following on film. later scaling back his performing career to focus on activism for civil rights and humanitarianism. A bomb threat at Milwaukee Lutheran High School. Police tell us the threat was made this morning around 8 K-9 units finding no explosives, no classes were affected, and nobody is in custody. A 16-year-old boy from Milwaukee in the hospital with life-threatening injuries after he was stabbed near 40th and Wright on Sunday evening. Milwaukee police tell us they're still investigating the circumstances leading up to the stabbing and looking for who was involved. Time for news about your money. It's the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update, and it's not a good market day. The Dow is down 289 points, the S&P 500 down 54, and the NASDAQ down 193 points. The S&P 500 and NASDAQ down over 1% each. Get on track with investment and retirement planning. Visit annexwealth.com. Click the Get Started button today. Taking a look at your roads, it is your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. Everything's still looking good. No accidents reported, and it looks like things are still a smooth ride. No major delays or any slowdowns.
Traffic is sponsored by Harwood Place Senior Living.
Learn more about Harwood Place Retirement Living's newly renovated apartments and updated pricing options at our May 10th open house. To RSVP or to schedule a tour, visit harwoodplace.org.
Time for the WTMJ 5-day forecast. Isolated wintry mix and partly sunny skies today, a high of 46. Tonight, mostly clear, a low of 33. Mostly sunny tomorrow, it'll be a high of 48. Thursday, partly cloudy, a high of 58. Friday, partly sunny, high is also 58. And Saturday, rain likely, a high of 55. Right now in downtown Milwaukee, it is 43 degrees. I'm Wyatt Barmore-Pooley. Siding Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 1:35.
I'm Jeff Wagner. Coming up next, so where does Tucker Carlson go from here? Stick around.
Here's to soaking up surf culture on Wisconsin's fresh coast. Here's to beaches designed for people of all abilities. To sand between your toes and happiness in your heart. Here's to trading skylines for endless Wisconsin shorelines. And to ending each day with smiles all around. Here's to those who Wisconsin. Start your summer getaway at travelwisconsin.com.
It's Jeff Levering for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Up to bat is Pella's award-winning Easy Slide innovation. Look at that effortless horizontal window slide, letting in lots of light. And that roll, it's a double play. Like magic, the screen disappears when the window is closed. On deck is Pella's Reserve Series patio door, featuring the best lifetime warranty in the industry. Just look at that slide. It's a perfect fit. Order by April 30th and get 0% for 48 months at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
Hey, Wisconsin, Greg Matzik here for Holiday Automotive in Fond du Lac, where the Spring Forward Sales event is on. Great timing to gear up for driving season. Get more for your trade and score enticing offers on the new Chevrolet, Buick, or GMC that's right for you. Or how about checking out the incredible value of a GM certified pre-owned model? With selection expanding and new models arriving daily, you can choose one that's in stock today or reserve one on the way, all while enjoying Holiday's warm, genuine guest care. It's the stuff that delights and makes fans of drivers from all over the Badger State. And I'm one of them. I know from my personal experience, you'll be in excellent hands with Team Holiday on your side. They are proud and grateful to be Wisconsin's #1 Buick and GMC dealer based on combined total sales per 2022 Buick and GMC zone sales records. So find yours and discover the difference at Holiday Chevrolet, Buick, and GMC, Highway 41 and 23 in Fond du Lac, and online at holidaygm.com. It's worth the trip.
Welcome back to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
We are back, so very glad to have you with us. All right, let's talk media. The breaking story yesterday that we discussed briefly, it had happened right before I went on the air, was Fox News making the decision to fire Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson had been with Fox News as a contributor since 2009, and when Bill O'Reilly got blown out in 2016, Tucker Carlson took over the Bill O'Reilly time slot and did very well. Interestingly, if you look at the ratings, when Carlson got blown out yesterday, he was he was drawing 800,000 fewer viewers than Bill O'Reilly was. And it's just impossible, I think, for people to forget what a big deal Bill O'Reilly was. But Bill O'Reilly was a very big deal, but nevertheless, he wore out his welcome at Fox News. And the same sort of thing happened, I think, with Tucker Carlson. He hasn't talked about what happened, but I think there's a lot of stuff going on. Clearly, the whole Dominion voting machine situation created problems, and whenever you do stuff which contributes to your employer having to write a check for $780 million or whatever, that's not going to be received well. Plus, there's other lawsuits as well. Plus, as I was just mentioning to Wyatt as he was walking out the door, he was not popular at Fox News. I think, Tucker Carlson was not liked. And, all the stories that have been coming out for a while is that Tucker Carlson was a difficult, a prickly personality who was difficult to get along with. And I think, what happens is if your bosses don't like you, that contributes. They might tolerate you if you've got high ratings or whatever, but if they don't like you, if you've been a difficult employee or whatever, what ends up happening is that when stuff starts to go south, they eventually it's like, okay, well, he's now is it more trouble than he's worth to keep him? And I think, and if you've got people that really like you as a person or something, they're inclined to be in your corner and say, okay, we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt and we're going to work through this. But I don't think there was too many people that liked Tucker Carlson. I mean, I'm talking about in the Fox News hierarchy. That might sound silly, but I think that that's generally a factor. And if you think about most workplaces, that's the case. If your bosses like you, they are more inclined to, like I say, give you the benefit of the doubt or work with you through things. And so I don't think Carlson had any of that residual goodwill. He had decent numbers, very, very successful. But at the same time, there were huge downsides. And I think a lot of the stuff that came out in the Dominion lawsuit, including some of the decisions, some of the stuff that he was saying about his bosses that, were aired when, they found when they went through discovery and all that, I think it just caused the people that run Fox News to say, okay, more trouble than it's worth. But, he's made a ton of money and he is very, very popular. The question is, what happens now? Now, yesterday we talked about this from the perspective of what happens to Fox News, but I want to talk about it with you from the perspective of where does Tucker Carlson go, and what do you see in his future? Now, other people who have been incredibly successful at Fox haven't been able to translate that success into other vehicles outside of Fox. Bill O'Reilly would be the example. Bill O'Reilly, for example, hasn't gone away, but Bill O'Reilly has nowhere near the presence that he had when he had that time slot on Fox. Megyn Kelly would be another example. Megyn Kelly was a really big deal when she was on Fox. She went to MSNBC, kind of spectacularly failed there, and now she's kind of floating around. I'm not saying she's disappeared, but her presence and her influence is greatly diminished. So, Tucker Carlson made a whole bunch of money, and he has a bunch of loyal followers. I understand that. But if you take away the vehicle of the 8 p.m., prime time time slot on the most watched cable news channel in the country, you take that away, and you're kind of like starting from scratch. So my question is, and I'll be glad to hear from people if you're a Tucker Carlson fan or if you're a detractor. My question is, okay, where does Carlson end up? Where do you go from here? Do you go to like a Newsmax or an OAN and try to recreate what you had at Fox News? Do you say, okay, I want a Newsmax, pay me a bunch of money, and here I'll try to do for you, raise your numbers, get your numbers to be, what they were at Fox News. Is that the route that you go? Do you say, look, I want to go, I'm a big enough deal that I can go independent. I can start my own my own network. And, now that you've got streaming and all the streaming services that are there, you don't necessarily even need to be carried by a CNN or an MSNBC. I was reading one thing today saying, hey, maybe CNN would be interested. And that would be kind of a major change. But of course, CNN is running on fumes when it comes to ratings. You want to talk about, doing something that would get attention and would also, I don't know, kind of wave at Fox News without all the fingers. That would be, CNN coming in and scooping up Tucker Carlson. 855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. Where do you think Tucker Carlson goes from here? We discuss in a moment.
Stay tuned. Jeff Wagner returns after this on WTMJ.
Hey, boaters!
Truly the best supplier around for all of our boating needs. This place is magic. I call it my candy store for boating parts. This is Dave Doro from Kendor Marine. And yeah, I said it, but these are the actual words of our satisfied and loyal customers. Boaters in the know exactly where to go, and there's a reason. We've got it all for our boater buddies. Kendor Marine, 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey, boaters! Cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water. Hey, boaters!
Now, I wasn't eavesdropping. I just happened to overhear him talking about us. He said if you know what you're looking for, just rummage around. You'll find it. And it's true, because we stock more boat parts and accessories than anyone. Even those oddball parts you thought you'd never find. This is Dave Doro, and boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey, boaters! Cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water.
It's WTMJ's Vince Vitrano here for Sister Bay Furniture. Wisconsin weather can be tough on all of us. A snowy gray morning can quickly evolve into a bright, warm afternoon, inviting you to fire up the grill and enjoy some quality outdoor time. Sister Bay Furniture is premium, high-quality outdoor furniture, built in Wisconsin, built for Wisconsin. Built from premium and sustainable materials, Sister Bay designs and builds patio furniture to survive years of Wisconsin weather. That's commercial-grade quality for your outdoor space. Customize your Sister Bay set. Pick from several different styles and colors to fit your unique outdoor space. Need professional help? Sister Bay Furniture offers a team of in-house design experts. They can help you plan and create the outdoor space of your dreams. Don't wait until the next beautiful day this year. Get out to their showroom today. It's located in Sussex on Executive Drive, or visit their website, sisterbayfurniture.com, to shop the entire selection. Sister Bay Furniture, built in Wisconsin, for Wisconsin.
Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors. CertainTeed Diamond Level Select Shingle Masters. The best of the best. And that's why you can feel confident in choosing us to install your new roof.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
As a mother of 3, I feel so blessed that our children go to Catholic schools. With so much anxiety and confusion in our world, it's refreshing to see Catholic schools alive with faith, joy, and engaging learning. I trust Catholic schools because they partner with us parents, and we know what they're teaching our kids is in line with our values. Every day starts with prayer, and they attend Mass together. I'm convinced that the focus on faith is helping to prepare my kids for life. It's shaping their character and their way of looking at the world. When they face difficult times, they'll be prepared with the conviction to do what's right. I can't imagine our lives without Catholic schools. We're part of a family, a community, and our kids are getting a great education. I encourage your family to join us at a Catholic school. You'll be amazed at the difference it makes.
Catholic schools. Be a part of something greater. Learn more and find a Catholic school near you at archmill.org/greater.
Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
Eight 855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. I think it's going to be extremely interesting to see what happens next with Tucker Carlson, who had unquestionably just an incredible success and was an opinion driver over the course of the last couple years on Fox. But now that Fox has severed ties with him and he's lost that spot, the question becomes,
what's more important? Is it Fox or is it the personality on Fox? Now, I mean, again, the best evidence I can give is you had some very high-profile personalities at Fox News, the Bill O'Reillys, the Megyn Kellys, who once they left Fox, I don't want to say they completely disappeared or fall off the face of the earth, but they have nowhere near the presence that they had at Fox. And I firmly believe that 2 or 3 years from now, you're going to see the same thing with Tucker Carlson. I think, and I'll make my prediction. I think it's, I'm sure that there will be some talk about going to, one of the newer conservative networks like the OAN or Newsmax. But I think, I think first of all, they're going to have trouble coming up with the amount of money that that Fox was paying him. And then the question becomes, if all of a sudden we have Tucker Carlson for an hour Monday through Friday, is he going to be able to bring enough people to justify, $25 million or $30 million or $35 million, which is an awful lot. Typically that hasn't turned out to be the case. And, if you're looking for an example beyond Bill O'Reilly and Megyn Kelly, I mean, think of Lieberman, who kind of like disappeared as well, when he got, pulled off the air as well. So I don't know how that's all going to work out, but I don't see that. I don't see that as also being a big enough stage for somebody like Tucker Carlson. Do you see Keith Olbermann, not Lieberman, Olbermann, who, of course, was on ESPN and then on MSNBC and now is kind of like floating around in his second or third, recreation. In addition, I just don't see OAN or Newsmax being a big enough vehicle for Tucker Carlson to go to. Do I see him going back to CNN or something like that? I think that would happen to be a long shot. My guess is what you're going to see is, he might just try to find some backers and create like his own, subscription service. And hey, if you, kind of like the Glenn Beck route, and if you want Tucker Carlson, here's what you do. We're behind this paywall and we're going to be producing content and you can pay for it. And then, you don't have that editorial control of, you don't have somebody else, looking over your shoulder and saying, okay, you can do this or you can't do that. Will that be diminished? Well, absolutely. I mean, I think, you end up being diminished. And so he's really, really popular. But I think one of the things lots of personalities learn is that, I don't know, it's not just the personality, but it's also a combination of the personality and the opportunity, the station, the time slot, all those different things, and it comes together. And whether it's Bill O'Reilly or whether it's Megyn Kelly or whether it's Tucker Carlson, I think you take them off the top-rated cable news channel and you take them away from this prime time slot, and it's almost impossible to recreate that success. Can you continue to be successful? Absolutely. And I don't think Tucker Carlson is going to go anywhere. And my guess is Tucker Carlson has enough money that he doesn't have to decide today or tomorrow where he's going to be. Although my guess is you're going to hear from him pretty soon, once they figure out what that next step is. But, will he have trouble matching the success that he had at Fox? I think that's just a given. But it will be interesting to see where he ends up. I wouldn't bet against him just going independent and starting his own sort of service and then really seeing, okay, how many followers do you have that are Tucker Carlson followers as opposed to Fox News followers who like to watch Tucker Carlson on Fox News? Like I say, the other lesson is this is sometimes what happens when your bosses don't like you. And I think that's one of the other things. I just think they didn't like him. And at some point in time, they decided, okay, he's more trouble than he's worth. And it's another reason why, you might want to figure out, if you want to have career success, you might not want to antagonize your bosses over and over again. And in this case, do stuff that contributes to them having to write out a check for $780+ million. Back with more in just a minute. This is Jeff Wagner.
More Jeff Wagner right after this. Bally Sports Wisconsin's Zora Stevenson has the in-depth Bucks knowledge you need from both on
Brooke, they call you Splash Mountain, but what do you think about Clutch Mountain?
and off the court.
Who on the Bucks roster is most likely to look at the menu before he sits down to have a meal?
I'm going to go with Pat Connaughton, only because it's like a running joke that he plans like every minute of his life.
It's Tuesdays with Zora, every Tuesday at 5:45 on Wisconsin's Afternoon News.
Hey, former radio wake-up guy Gene Miller here for my friends at Hometown Windows and Doors. That's Hometown with an E for your every window and door need. If that recent cold snap made you think that now is the time to replace those drafty old windows, then now is a good time to call Hometown Windows and Doors. Save heating costs now, cooling dollars down the road with energy-efficient replacement windows and doors from Hometown. Hometown offers the brands you trust like Anderson, Pella, Marvin, Softlight, and more in wood, vinyl, and fiberglass. And all of their products are installed by employee carpenters. Plus, Hometown is the area's only Pella Platinum and Marvin authorized replacement company. Hometown's dedicated consultants can guide you to the best fit and value for your home and your remodeling dollar. Stop in at their newly remodeled showroom in New Berlin and see the Hometown difference for yourself. Or call them for a no-pressure in-home consultation, 414-329-1200, or visit them at hometownwindows.com. That's Hometown with an E for your every window and door need.
Find furniture for life from Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
Seriously injured? Call Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Chief Differentiation Officer Brian Wickert reminding home shoppers that working with Accunet is different and better than working with your bank. Most bank pre-approvals state they've only verified the potential home buyer's credit, but not their income or money for down payment. To us, that's just crazy. Accunet's rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval tells the seller we've checked out all three aspects of your financial health and that we'll pay $2,000 if our pre-approval is faulty. Banks don't do that, but they do have a lot of overhead with all their vice presidents and fancy branches. We keep overhead low, which means lower rates and closing costs that are typically $1,000 to $3,000 lower than banks. Most importantly, our loan consultants can show you and your agent how to improve your financing and appraisal contingencies so your offer has the best chance of winning in a multiple offer situation. Hey, don't settle for a flimsy, unimaginative bank pre-approval. Click on the blue button today for your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval. That's ACCUNET.com.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station. You're listening to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
Well, it's not a surprise, and it's not something that I think too many people were necessarily thrilled with, but Joe Biden has announced that he is running for re-election in 2024. Now, he did this in a weird way, but maybe it's not. When you think about things, Joe Biden announced that he was running for re-election, not at a giant campaign event, not at, I don't know, a bunch of big donors, and we're going to announce this. We're going to go home to Delaware, and we're going to have this outdoor event and stuff. No, he announced it in a video that he produced that was made available this morning. And apparently he's going to give a speech to a union group later on today. But it's a weird way to announce, but maybe it's not. Now, if you look at the different polls, I think, and we talked about this yesterday, I think it is fair to say that Democrats, while they will support Biden, are not enthusiastic about Biden. And as I argued yesterday, I don't care whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, conservative or liberal, he's too darn old. And I think most people agree with that. And I think that the majority of Democrats would like to have another option that's out there. Because even if you agree with Biden's policies, there is a concern. I mean, he's 80 years old, for goodness sakes. He'd be 82 when he took the oath of office. And you don't mean to be ageist, but the reality is CEOs of companies are typically at the age of 65. They're out. Managing partners at law firms are typically out at the age of 65. 80 is just too old. And I think, again, whether you like Biden or not, you look at him and you see that there's clearly decline. And the question becomes, how much worse is that decline going to get over the course of the next 2 or the 6 years? And I think also, there is a concern from Democrats that if you have somebody other than Donald Trump who gets into the race, who's younger, more vibrant, a Nikki Haley or a Tim Scott or a Ron DeSantis or whatever, and you're able to effectively use that age issue. I mean, there is clearly a vulnerability that is there. I mean, otherwise, look, why else do you announce that you're running for re-election in a video unless you want to make sure that you control the setting? New York Times has been running opinion pieces of all places, talking about how Biden has had fewer press conferences in the first couple of years that he's been in office than anybody, either except for Nixon and maybe Reagan in the first 2 years. And why is that? Well, it's clear. His handlers are concerned that if you put Joe Biden out in an unscripted situation, he's a loose cannon. And I mean, you saw that on his trip to Ireland, where you have his son who's like steering him. Okay, Dad, you're supposed to go over the rope line now. I mean, it's just the reality of what happens when people hit a certain age. And I think, most people, if you're in your mid-70s, even if you feel that you're, still vibrant and things like that, you're able to do things, you would acknowledge that, okay, maybe there's times, especially when you're talking about a job like being the president, it's time to turn it over to younger people. Well, Biden's not willing to do that, and Democrats generally won't challenge him. So this is what's going on, and he's hoping Trump gets the nomination, because if Biden runs against Trump, he wins. If he runs against pretty much anybody else, I think he ends up losing. But the least surprising story of the day, Joe Biden announcing he's running for re-election, and he does that on video as opposed to in front of a large group of people where he might have to be unscripted. Go figure. Back with much more in just a couple minutes. This is Jeff Wagner.
Stick around. Jeff Wagner is right around the corner.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano here. A couple years ago, my knee was acting up. As an athlete, I've played through pain before, but it was getting to the point where I couldn't compete in the sports I loved. I decided to check out Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. It's the best decision I've made. I felt no pressure to have surgery. That was important to me. We had choices. I ultimately did choose to have a procedure. I was in and out in just hours and back in action shortly after. I recommend meeting their doctors. Visit orthowisconsin.com today.
Our house needs a lot of work. That roof, siding.
J&J Contractors.
It's not just the outside. The bathroom needs to be completely redone.
J&J Contractors. They do it all with top-of-the-line quality craftsmanship that's all custom or semi-custom. In addition to full interior remodels, J&J Contractors' skilled and certified team members use high-quality materials for all your exterior needs. Roofing, siding, windows, and gutters. Contact them today to schedule a consultation. Just Google J&J Contractors.
Heard it work? Contact Tayback for the payback. Go to TaybackAttorneys.com.
I thought I saw a pussycat.
Joey Weaver with a leaping grab at the wall to pull that one down.
Our Brewers Tigers coverage starts tonight at 6:05. Only on the home of the Brewers. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 2 o'clock, it's 43 degrees, partly sunny today, a high of 46. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Wyatt Barmore-Pooley. Movement among Republican lawmakers on the effort to legalize marijuana for medical use in Wisconsin.
I think we're getting really close to a spot where this bill can get done.
Senate Majority Leader Devin LeMahieu tells Wisconsin's Morning News his caucus is talking about a medical cannabis bill that could get the votes.
We need just to make sure that it doesn't become, dispensaries essentially giving out marijuana from a non-doctor on some street corner, but that it's actually used for medical purposes.
LeMahieu and other legislative Republicans remain opposed to legalizing marijuana for recreational use. Vince Vitrano, WTMJ News.
A bipartisan shared revenue proposal meant to give more aid to local communities is expected to be released later this week. Assembly Speaker Robin Vos.
I am optimistic that hopefully by Thursday we'll have a bipartisan plan, but if not, Assembly Republicans are going to lay out their ideas because we believe it's important to engage the public before we get down the road.
Vos says he'd like to bring a plan to the floor for a vote sometime next month. The The city of Milwaukee's budget is looming. Cuts to MPD that may come along with it are stirring mixed reactions. Milwaukee police laying out the cuts on Monday, their doomsday scenario, which would entail eliminating Police District 6, dissolving the traffic safety unit, and slimming down the police force by 400 officers. Alderman Michael Murphy tells TMJ4 News.
I know people are looking at this and probably saying, oh, this is just not going to happen. This never happened. Hate to disappoint you. This is a 50-50.
Milwaukee Mayor Cavalier Johnson will ultimately sign off on the city's budget in November. Actor, musician, and activist Harry Belafonte has died at the age of 96. He's best known for his songs Jump in the Line and the Banana Boat song, but ABC's Trevor also says that Belafonte fought for civil justice his entire life.
As one of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s closest confidants, he helped plan the March on Washington in 1963. And even into his 90s, the UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador continued to promote civil rights and peace.
Belafonte also earned the rare EGOT, an Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony Award. It's not just the fans ready to move on now that Aaron Rodgers has been traded to the Jets. Packers Hall of Famer and ESPN Wisconsin host Mark Tauscher says now that the trade is finally behind us, it'll make life easier on the players moving forward.
For everybody in that locker room, I think there is the, whew, all right, we're now moving forward with Jordan Love. We appreciate what Aaron did, but that is now in the past. We'll talk about it once, and then it is Jordan Love moving forward.
Jordan Love is now QB1 for Green Bay. Sports, traffic, and weather coming up next. Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 2:03.
This report is sponsored by the White Lace Inn, Door County. Perfect for a birthday or anniversary gift.
Hello, Dennis from White Lace Inn here in beautiful Door County. White Lace Inn has been providing gracious elegance, sincere hospitality, and relaxing getaways since 1982. Wander garden pathways that connect each of the 4 Victorian homes, 18 rooms and suites that make up White Lace Inn. White Lace Inn is just minutes away from restaurants, museums, shopping, hiking, bike trails, and all of Door County. When evening comes, return to White Lace Inn, relax in front of a romantic fireplace, and step into an inviting whirlpool bath for 2. Then climb into a luxurious bed for the night. The next morning, enjoy a delicious White Lace Inn breakfast, served with Door County coffee. White Lace Inn, consistently voted one of the most romantic inns of America. Whether it's a relaxing getaway, birthday, anniversary, honeymoon, or small destination wedding, amazing memories are waiting you at White Lace Inn. Open every night of the year. To find out more, take a tour at whitelaceinn.com. That's whitelaceinn.com.
Hi folks, this is Hank Albert, owner of BBC Lighting. With spring in the air, a young man's fancy turns to ceiling fans. And BBC gets all the best brands, such as Minka Air, Fanimation, Quorum, and many, many more. With uplights, downlights, no lights, ceiling huggers, and remotes. All are lifetime warranted. In our huge showroom, you'll find the top brands of lights and fans at the lowest prices. I guarantee it. Our expert lighting staff is always here to assist you. There's something for everyone at BBC, including fun for the kids. BBC is located at 20th and St. Paul Avenue near the Potawatomi Casino. BBC is open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 and Saturday from 10 to 4. Stay safe and healthy, my friends.
Following a Monday night loss to the Tigers at American Family Field, the Brewers and Tigers resume the series tonight. It's Game 2 in Milwaukee with Eric Lauer on the mound for the Brewers, who have lost back-to-back games for the first time this season. Coverage gets underway at 6 o'clock on WTMJ. The Bucks return home from Miami, trailing the Heat 3-1 in their best-of-7 opening round playoff series. The Bucks will need to win 3 straight games to avoid elimination. Wednesday night's game at 8:30 tip from Fiserv Forum. If necessary, Game 6 will be played in Miami on Friday night. And the Packers and Jets agree to a trade compensation package for quarterback Aaron Rodgers that includes Green Bay picking up the number 13 overall pick in this year's draft. Green Bay sends the number 15 pick in this year's draft to New York as part of the deal. Round 1 of the NFL draft will take place Thursday night. Greg Matzek, WTMJ Sports.
Taking a look at your roads, it is your Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. The only thing we're really looking at right now is a slowdown on 894 eastbound from the Hale to the Mitchell. It's a couple extra minutes. Looks like there's some backups around Layton Avenue. And that's pretty much the only thing. Everything else is looking good. No any accidents reported, and no other slowdowns or any delays.
Traffic is sponsored by Annex Wealth Management.
It's time to know the difference, and Annex Wealth Management is ready to help with investment, retirement, tax, and estate planning as a fee-only fiduciary partner. AnnexWealth.com. Click the Get Started button.
Time for the WTMJ 5-day forecast. Partly sunny today, a high of 46. Mostly clear skies tonight, a low of 33. Sunny skies tomorrow, a high of 48. Thursday, partly cloudy with a high of 58. Partly sunny on Friday, the high is also 58. And on Saturday, it's going to be rainy with a high of 55. Right now in Madison, it is 45. In Green Bay, it's 46. In Waukesha, it's 44. And in Milwaukee, it's 43 degrees. I'm Wyatt Barmar-Pooley. Sighting Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 2:07.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue, it's the Jeff Wagner Show. Now, here's WTMJ's Jeff Wagner.
Good afternoon, Wisconsin. Welcome back to the show. My friends, I have failed you. I acknowledge I have failed you because there is something going on. It is incredibly bad policy. It is an incredible waste of money. We've been talking about this for a couple years, and we weren't able to kill it. And I'm very sorry about that, but it's kind of the reality. It's what happens when you try to take on this entrenched bureaucracy that does stuff more on emotion than they do on common sense. I am talking about the East-West Bus Rapid Transit line that we have been discussing for a number of years. For those of you who have not been following this story, at the cost of about $55 million, $40 million or so, which came from us as federal taxpayers, and another $15 million that came from Milwaukee County, the taxpayers. What's happening is, and they're painting the lines on the streets starting today. They are doing the striping on the dedicated bus lanes. What they are doing is they've decided that we're going to have a not-so-rapid bus transit line that will run from essentially the lakefront down Wisconsin Avenue. Then it will take a jog and go up to Blue Mound, then go down Blue Mound for a while, and then jog back to Wisconsin Avenue, about 8+ miles. The cost is $55 million. This bus line, it will have 17 different stops. It will have a dedicated bus lane, so traffic will lose that. Businesses that are along this bus line, well, you're going to have to deal with how people are going to turn into your businesses and things like that. So at a cost of $55 million, you will be able to get, if you ride it the entire way, that is from the lakefront out to the freighter at the Medical College, Wisconsin, you will cut the traffic down from the time they estimate. Currently, if you take the current bus, it's 37 minutes. You will be able, if you ride the entire route, you will be able to do it in 29 minutes. So it's not like you're knocking off 20 minutes. It's not like you're cutting it in half. You're going from 37 minutes to 29 minutes. And that's if you ride the whole way. If you pick it up somewhere in between there, obviously the amount of time you save is not going to be anywhere near as great. Plus, it doesn't take into account the time that you're going to spend waiting for the bus. It doesn't take into the account that the time you're going to spend driving your car, presumably, to an area where you can pick up the bus and trying to find a parking space. So, and in addition to 8 minutes, the estimates were, in the next 10 years, if we do this, you will see the population, the number of users who ride the bus on this particular bus line will increase from 7,200 to 9,500 per day. Now, that's the estimate. Now, this is, of course, we see these estimates all the time. Remember, we saw, this is how many people are going to ride the hop and pay money to do that. And, of course, that's been a complete and total bomb as far as, these ridership projections. I mean, the people who do these ridership projections, they want to sell this. So they put this in the light most favorable. And so, all right, it's never made any sort of sense to me that all of a sudden that the fact that you can save 8 minutes is going to suddenly cause people to say, I'm giving up my car and I'm going to, walk and take the bus. It's just not going to happen, especially since it continues to be so easy for people to get around in this area, driving cars. Although, admittedly, if we keep pulling out traffic lanes to make room for buses or make room for streetcar tracks, it becomes more and more difficult to drive around. As far as people, well, we need to connect people with jobs, and there's all these jobs that are out there. What's one of the first things that somebody does if they get a job and they're at the job for a little while? They buy a car. Because people like to have cars. They like the flexibility of not being tied into having to ride a bus. I understand there's some people that ride buses, but I look at this $55 million tearing up the streets, dedicated bus lanes, inconveniencing people who drive and people who live along this route. To me, it doesn't make any sense. I argued this, but because we got a big dose of federal money and because you have people who just can't resist the urge in spending that money, we now have the high-speed bus line. I think part of it is also kind of a stalking horse for light rail, but that's another story. Okay, so it's going to happen. Going to happen. Nothing anybody can do. We'll just kind of sit back and watch and see whether this is really a success or whether it turns out to be the cousin of the hop. All right. So now, on the heels of that, the same people that brought you the high-speed or the not-so-high-speed east-west bus line, they want a north-south bus line. The north-south bus line would involve, $55 million for the 8-mile run that goes again from the lakefront out to the freighter at the Meadow College, Wisconsin. This proposed north-south bus line would cost $148 million, almost 3 times as much. And it would run about 18 miles. It would run from the IKEA in Oak Creek all the way up 27th Street, and it would kind of jog around a little bit, and it would ultimately end at Bayshore Town Center. Now, the argument is that, hey, if we put this in, it would be 18 miles. It would pass through all sorts of areas. For example, you would have Milwaukee Century City, which continues to be a ghost town. It would also go to the Northwestern Mutual Franklin campus. Oh yeah, Northwestern Mutual is pulling out of the Franklin campus. Oops, forgot about that. But the argument is it would pass by about 51,000 jobs through neighborhoods where a number of residents don't own a car. The cost would be $148 million. And if you did this, again, you would knock off some time, but nothing. I've pulled this out. The 18-mile draft route would be made up of approximately 80% protected lanes and would reduce end-to-end travel times by 15 minutes compared to the typical Milwaukee County transit system. So in this case, you could, if you rode it all the way from IKEA in Oak Creek all the way up to Glendale in the Bayshore Town Center, which I think very few people would, you'd save a total of 15 minutes. And it was scheduled to make a loop around the Northwestern Mutual Franklin campus, but my guess is that there's no sense in doing that because there's not going to be a Northwestern Mutual Franklin campus moving forward. The argument that they make is that if you did this, you would once again dramatically increase ridership. That is, that people who otherwise choose to drive would somehow choose to give up their cars in order to get on the bus. Our number is 855-616-1620. That's the old National Bank talk and text line. All right, let's tee this up. There is going to be an east-west bus line. I think it was a huge waste of $55 million. Okay, but that's what's going to happen. What about now saying, all right, we've got the east-west bus line. Let's put in the north-south bus line, which is going to cost almost 3 times as much. It's going to be longer. If you rode it all the way from Oak Creek up to Glendale, you can get there 15 minutes faster. Is this a giant white elephant, Or is this absolutely what we need? Does this need to be the next step for southeastern Wisconsin moving forward? 855-616-1620. We discuss.
More Jeff Wagner right after this.
Be our eyes on the road. See something out there that I should know about?
Hello, reporting an accident on 40.
Call me, Debbie Lazaga, at thehallmazda.com traffic tip line at 414-238-9329.
Hey, Debbie, this is Al calling. Southbound 894 is backed up all the way to Beloit Road.
The drive affects you. Why not be part of it?
Hi, Debbie. It's Mark. There's an incident on the left shoulder, and it's a parking lot.
Give me a call, 414-238-9329.
Hi, this is WTMJ's Jeff Wagner here to tell you about Built Right Furniture, Leather, and Mattresses. If you're looking for affordable, better quality furniture and mattresses, you really need to do what a couple of my family members did. They went to Built Right. When you get to the store, you're going to find a 45,000 square foot showroom with thousands, I said thousands, of furniture items in stock, plus 500 mattresses. This includes a huge selection of USA and Amish-made furniture, plus better quality imported furniture for any size home. Also, check out Built Right's over 48 models of in-stock power lift recliners. Special and custom orders are much faster in 2023 as well. Free in-store design services are available too. And now's a great time to get to Built Right as their 5th generation sale is going on now. Built Right Furniture, voted best place to shop and winner of the Home Furnishings Association's 2023 National Retailer of the Year Award. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. for personalized shopping. No problem. Call to book an appointment. Sunday they're closed to be with family. As always, when you get there, they love to hear this. Do yourself a favor. Do me a favor. Tell them Jeff Wagner from WTMJ sent you to Built Right, 54th and Layton Avenue in Greenfield.
This is ESPN Milwaukee's Jen Latta for St. Kate the Arts Hotel. Are you looking for the perfect restaurant for your next night out? Make Aria, the acclaimed restaurant inside St. Kate, your next dinner destination. Specializing in artisanal American cuisine, Aria features carefully prepared seasonal entrees along with a robust selection of craft cocktails, wine, and local beer. New to Aria's menu is a family-style chicken dinner available every Sunday featuring the restaurant's famous Bro-Stish chicken served with sides like mashed potatoes, goat cheese biscuits, and more. Learn more and make reservations at Aria at stkatearts.com.
Life's more rewarding at Blaine's Farm and Fleet, especially during our great outdoor event. Right now, get unbeatable deals on a variety of outdoor essentials, like 36-pound bags of Estate lawn or garden fertilizer, just $24.99. Robic septic tank treatment, $5.99 a quart. 22-ounce Estwing framing hammers, $19.99. $50 off a Hobart Handler 140 MIG welder, and 24 packs of Blaine's brand AA or AAA batteries, just $7.99. Shop our new Blaine's Farm and Fleet store in Grafton, located at 1771 Wisconsin Avenue.
This is Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
Yeah, well, that high speed, and I say this in air quotations, if you're watching us on our live stream, and you can do that through YouTube or through Watch Live, I just kind of made my air quotes motion. You know, the east-west high-speed bus rapid transit line, which will allow you, if you ride the whole route, to go from the lakefront essentially out to the complex, the Freighter and the Medical College Wisconsin complex. It'll take it from, I don't know, 37 minutes to 29 minutes? And this is going to be something that supposedly makes all sorts of people decide, we're going to get out of our cars. Give me a break. Well, okay, that was bad at $55 million, but we did it because the federal government threw a bunch of money at this. So now they're saying, okay, well, what we need to do is we need to do the same thing north-south. 27th Street, we start at IKEA, and then we go past the Northwestern Mutual Complex. Oops, they're bailing on that. And it goes all the way up to Bayshore. The argument is that, if somebody rode it from Oak Creek up to Bayshore, you would knock off 15 minutes. That's if you rode the entire route. They say that their estimates, I'm looking at this, is ridership would increase 50 to 60%. Give me a break. I mean, you wonder, what the people are smoking that are coming up with these sort of estimates. Yeah, I live in Oak Creek. I got a job now at Bayshore Town Center, so I'm going to ride the bus all the way up there, and suddenly that means that it's going to increase by 50 to 60%. And nobody looks at these things and says, this is just nuts. There's no way that this is going to happen, just like there's no way that this bus that they put on the east-west thing is going to increase ridership from 7,200 to 9,500 riders a day. It's just not that much of an incentive. And to the extent, as I was saying, that you help connect people with jobs, well, once people get jobs and start making some money, what's the first thing they do? They buy a car because they don't want to be tied into having to take the bus. 855-616-1620. Let's start with, Roger in Sheboygan. Roger, you're on WTMJ.
Hi, Jeff. I have just one question. How much are they planning on cutting the police department by?
Well, Roger, that's a very interesting question. Thanks for the call. Now, I county and city. Okay, so this was county money, but you do raise an interesting point. During our newscasts all day, we've been having these aldermen, and maybe we're going to get to this in the next half hour of the program. We've had these aldermen coming in and pleading poverty. Hey, this is it. We are heading for a fiscal cliff. Milwaukee County, by the way, is heading for a fiscal cliff as well. We don't have any money for this. And, we'll use your example. Again, it's city and county, but we've got money to underwrite the HOP. So we can take $1 million there, but we're going to have to close District 6. We're going to have to lay off these cops. We're going to have to lay off these firefighters. We're going to have to spend $15 million to build what is essentially going to turn into be a homeless tent city right next to the building where I'm in now. But we're going to do that, but, we don't have money for the police. So, yes, it is interesting to me that when you're looking at a fiscal cliff, and there's no question, finances are very, very problematic for both the city of Milwaukee and Milwaukee County, that we're even talking about, in this case, the county contributing, I don't know what it would be, $30 million or whatever for this high-speed bus line because it's a bright, shiny toy and we want to have it. Just like the HOP was a bright, shiny toy and, we all know how that's working out. It's now being subsidized by the taxpayers of the city of Milwaukee, and at the same time we've got aldermen saying we don't have enough money to do what we need to do. Let's talk to Frank in South Milwaukee. Frank, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon. I'm in 100% agreement that this is just preposterous and a whole total waste of money, and that money could be. It shows you the limitations of our thinkers if this is the best they can come up with. Anyways, I had a provocative idea. I got another line of justification for them. We know houses have gone up so much in cost that we're looking at a reduced share of the population that will be able to own homes. Mm-hmm. Well, I've heard that cars have gone up absolutely astronomically, and there's got to be and used cars too, and there could be a shift towards more public transit if it was any good for the folks that aren't going to have cars in the future. But so that I'm surprised they haven't come up with that justification to further support this hoo-ha idea.
Well, it's interesting. I think, for example, you could look at the ridership of the HOP, and I think you could make an argument that it would have been cheaper just to all the few people that buy it. It would have been cheaper just to buy them cars or buy them e-bikes or whatever, or the electric scooters, and they'd be much better off. Look. I appreciate that there's a need for mass transit, but we have these people that are just so deluded by this idea of mass transit that, okay, we've got to have it. We've got to have this bright, shiny toy, and, we need this without recognizing that, again, we are not Chicago. We are not New York. You can get around here relatively easily in automobiles, and that's always going to be the choice. And so why you would spend $150 million trying to do something like this is just absolutely crazy. And I think the same thing's going to end up being true, once we look at this east-west, bus rapid transit thing. If nothing else, maybe I'm going to be wrong. Okay? Why don't we give it a few years and let's look at what the ridership actually is. And you can say, okay, maybe people are now flocking. The idea that I can knock 9 minutes off a 35-minute trip, so now it's only a half hour instead of 37 minutes, maybe that will have people flocking to ride the bus. I just don't see it. It's not the way people work. If you want to ride the bus, you're going to ride the bus, and that extra 5 or 6 or 7 minutes doesn't make any difference. And I understand that, north-south bus line, which is going to tear up, you're going to tear up lanes on 27th Street. I understand it'll knock off a few minutes. But that in and of itself isn't enough, I think, to cause people to say, okay, I'm going to drive to wherever I pick up the bus, and I'm going to figure out where I'm going to park my car, or I'm going to get somebody to give me a lift. If this was Washington, D.C., all right, where you just have overwhelming traffic, if it was Chicago, if it was New York, there might be a justification for it. But last time I checked, number one, we're not Chicago. We're not New York. We're not Washington, D.C. Number two, the population is declining. People are moving out of the area. And it's not because, we have a $150 million bus line that would let you get from Bayshore to IKEA in Oak Creek and save yourself 10 minutes or whatever. It's just not feasible. But that's not going to stop people from doing it because, if we can get a federal grant, it's not our money. Well, Milwaukee County is going to have to come up with tens of millions of dollars that they don't have, that is the people who live in Milwaukee County's money, and it's all of our money when you're talking about federal dollars. Back with more in just a minute. This is Jeff Wagner.
More Jeff Wagner right after this.
There are heroes among us who run toward danger rather than away from it. We call them first responders. This is Steve Scafidi. WTMJ is partnering with Educators Credit Union to honor police officers, firefighters, and countless others who work every day to protect our families and loved ones. Do you have a first responder you would like to nominate? Go to WTMJ.com, click on the Salute to Service banner, and share your story. We'll bring you the incredible stories during Salute to Service month in May.
Steve Scafidi's Salute to Service with Educators Credit Union. Details now at WTMJ.com.
I'm Randy Miller, owner of All Right Home and Remodeling and current president of the Milwaukee chapter of NARI. For 3 generations, our family business has been about more than just our family. It's about the people who work for us and with us. It's about helping families improve their homes, which improves their lives. It's about honest work and fair pricing. It's also about paying it forward by giving back. Get started at ALLRITE remodeling.com.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Brian Wickert, back to report even more home buyers paid over the asking price last month, rising to 50% in the 5-county metro area. 3 out of 10 paid $10,000 or more above that list price. The good news is appraised values are generally keeping up with the over-asking offers. Still, the most powerful thing a buyer can do to make their offer the most attractive in a multiple offer situation is to give the seller some appraisal wiggle room. Telling the seller you're willing to pay over the asking price, even if the house appraises lower, sounds scary because most buyers think they have to fill that potential gap with more down payment. But in the vast majority of cases, AccuNet is showing home buyers how they can offer appraisal wiggle room without bringing a nickel more to closing. Appraisal wiggle room is like a good card trick. You need to see it to believe it. So if you're home shopping with a flimsy, unimaginative bank pre-approval, upgrade today to an AccuNet rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval by clicking on the blue button at AccuNet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
Say cheese! Whether you like it with tomato soup or with bacon on sourdough, the cheese stands alone. The 10th Annual Wisconsin Grilled Cheese Championship returns on Saturday, April 29th at the Lye Memorial Pavilion at Harris Park in Dodgeville, Wisconsin. General admission is free. VIP tickets are $30 and will be available at the door. VIP tickets include a sandwich, drink, soup, and a goodie bag. Visit the Wisconsin Grilled Cheese Championship Facebook page for more information. It's the Wisconsin Grilled Cheese Championship on Saturday, April 29th in Dodgeville, Wisconsin.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
So when you're in a pain spiral, will stem cells or bone marrow harvested from your body and then placed back into your body get you out of it? For those willing to go through a very expensive and not exactly easy process, which is not FDA approved, it might. But for those not willing to pay exorbitant amounts to go through all that, especially knowing that pain relief is not a sure thing, it's not an option. At Rejuvenex, we inject powerful, FDA-approved treatments that reduce inflammation and pain, while improving mobility in hips, shoulders, elbows, and knees. With some patients experiencing relief for greater than 2 years before repeating the process. I'm Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Pain Clinics, and we are in network with most major insurance plans, including Medicare and Medicaid. We can alleviate your pain, and that'll rejuvenate your life. It's pain relief, really.
Rejuvenex. Alleviate
rejuvenex.com to request your appointment.
This is Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
Welcome back. WTMJ Breaking News Time is 2:32 p.m. And from the WTMJ Breaking News Center, here he is, Wyatt Barmore Pooley.
Thanks, Jeff. A new proposed East Side apartment has been approved by the City Planning Commission. It would rise on the neighboring lot of the now closed Renaissance Place venue near Curtis and Prospect. The building would be 25 stories tall, have over 300 apartments, and includes 7 floors fully dedicated to parking. It's now headed to the Common Council Zoning, Neighborhood, and Development Committee for further review. Actor and singer Harry Belafonte has died at the age of 96. His publicist saying he died at his New York City home. Belafonte sold millions of records and was one of the first black performers to gain a wide following on film. Belafonte later scaling back his performing career to focus on activism for civil rights and humanitarianism. Today officially kicks off Black Restaurant Week in Milwaukee. It's the 9th year of the event that looks to celebrate black-owned businesses throughout the city. The event runs through Sunday and will kick off this afternoon at 3 with a celebration at the Sherman Phoenix. Participating businesses include Junior Smoked Barbecue, Twisted Plants, Cream City Sports Bar, and over 10 other black-owned eateries. And a 16-year-old boy from Milwaukee is in the hospital with life-threatening injuries after he was stabbed near 40th and Wright Sunday evening. Milwaukee police say they are still investigating the circumstances leading up to the stabbing. They're looking for who was involved. Time for news about your money, the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update, and stocks are down today. The Dow is down 283 points. That's about 0.85%. S&P at 500 and NASDAQ both down over 1%. The S&P is down 55 points, and the NASDAQ is down just about 200 points. Get on track with investment and retirement planning. Visit AnnexWealth.com. Click the Get Started button today. It's your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic, and we have a crash on, it is 4394 northbound. It's a little bit beyond the ramp from 6th and Mineral Street. It's in the left lane. Looks like an SUV and a truck, I believe. It is blocking the left lane there. Lots of slowdowns as people try to merge around it. Once you get past the accident, you're good. That is pretty much the only major delay. Everything else is looking good.
Traffic is sponsored by Trees on the Move. From planning to planting, it's Trees on the Move. We all look forward to outdoor living in Wisconsin. From planning to planting and everything in between, now is the perfect time to let Trees on the Move beautify your landscape.
Time for the WTMJ 5-day forecast. Partly sunny today, a high of 46. Mostly clear tonight, a low of 33. Wednesday, mostly sunny, a high of 48. Thursday, partly cloudy, a high of 58. Friday, partly sunny, the high is also 58. And Saturday, rain likely, a high of 55. Right now in downtown Milwaukee, it is 44 degrees. I'm Wyatt Barmore Pooley. Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 2:34.
I'm Jeff Wagner. Coming up next, no money for cops, but money for a plaza. I'll explain. We'll discuss.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this.
When you see our selection of gently worn brand name girls and women's clothing, you'll love what you find, and you'll love the prices. So low that you won't believe your eyes. At St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores, you'll find something cute, maybe a whole new outfit, for so much less. Gently worn brand name clothing at far below retail. You're gonna love it. On Highway 100 at Layton and Greenfield, and 23rd and Lincoln in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Fleet Farm is your one-stop shop to get your yard spring ready. Find everything you need and more from our wide selection of lawn care goods. Going on now, get 5 bags of superior colored mulch for just $10. Plus, the garden center is now open. Stop in to get your garden ready with our nursery quality plants. Look forward to green grass and a fresh garden with help from Fleet Farm, your lawn and garden headquarters.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Stop into Ken Michaels Furniture for our sale on Bradington Young, made in the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains. Bradington Young is an American icon in quality leather upholstery. Whether you're looking for power recliners or stationary seating, Be Wise Furniture is made with enduring quality, outstanding comfort, and timeless styling. Save 35% now on Braddington Young Upholstery at Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield and Greenfield. Visit us today.
Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
Welcome back. So glad to have you with us. For people who, this is kind of an interesting thing because this is like the second week we've been doing this. You can now not only listen to the program, but you can also watch us. All you have to do is go to WTMJ.com, hit the watch live button. We got cameras all over the studio. The studio is lit up like an operating room. You know, matter of fact, that I'm going to start coming in wearing sunglasses, I think, because we're told that you have to like jack up the lights so that the cameras work and stuff. But it's extremely bright. I think that would be fair to say. But it is interesting because I know that there's a number of people who like to watch the shows or at least check in because we can see the numbers. And it's always like, what are you wearing today, Jeff? Well, I'm going to the ball game tonight, going to American Family Field. Hopefully the Brewers will be able to reverse their 2-game losing streak. So I'm wearing my Brewers paraphernalia. So I got one of my old school Brewers sweatshirts that are on. And so that's, people are saying, what is that exactly that you're wearing? Well, it's Brewers because we're going to the ball game. That's it. Okay. If you've been listening to our newscasts all day, you've been hearing the sky is falling rhetoric coming from the Milwaukee Common Council. And let me kind of back into this topic. One of the things that happens whenever you have public officials that want to get more taxpayer dollars, and they always talk about like budget problems, they never talk about, gee, if we don't get the money, we're going to have to, I don't know, cut a couple mid-level bureaucrats. And there was a couple school districts. Racine was famous for this. They did all these school referendums, and they kept failing because the voters wouldn't go along with them. So they came up with this idea that said, okay, here's the deal. We're going to tell people that if we don't pass this referendum, what's going to happen is we're going to have to eliminate all after-school sports. Oh, my God, you're going to eliminate after-school sports. They never said, we're going to get rid of, like, 4 assistant principals. No. It was, we're going to eliminate after-school sports. And they panicked people, and so that caused people to say, okay, well, we'll give you the referendum. This is a common trick that public officials use. It's like, let's find out what it is that would upset the people the most, that would hurt the people the most, and then let's say this is what we're going to cut in an effort to generate money. Again, it's not like we're going to get rid of a bunch of bureaucrats. And so that's what's happening right now. The city of Milwaukee is talking about how they're in dire financial straits. And by the way, they are. But they're saying, okay, here's what's going to happen. If we don't get more money from the state, what's going to happen is we're going to have to cut the police department. We're going to have to eliminate 355 and between 355 to 890 people from the police department, the fire department, and the libraries. Now, they're not saying we're going to have to eliminate some researchers or we're going to have to eliminate some aides in City Hall. It's we're going to have to cut the police department. We're going to have to cut the fire department. We're going to have to cut the libraries. And they do that on purpose because if they said, okay, we're going to have to get rid of a couple mid-level bureaucrats who are working on our staffs, nobody would care. They'd say they probably, who cares about that? But, oh, no, we're going to have to get rid of police. It's a stunt that politicians end up pulling on a regular basis because, again, you get the headlines. You get the alarmist sort of stuff. So that's what's going on here. And my point has always been, okay, before you start cutting the cops and before you start cutting the firefighters and before you start closing the libraries, let's look at other things in the budget, including how many aides do you need in City Hall and things like that. And why are we spending $1 million subsidizing the HOP? But I digress. So anyhow, the city of Milwaukee is pleading poverty. Oh, this is terrible. And by the way, because of all sorts of decisions they have made, they are looking at a fiscal cliff. At the same time, it's interesting to me some of the decisions that are being made. The same week that they announced that unless we get more money, we're going to have to get rid of hundreds of firefighters and police officers and we're going to have to close libraries. What's the story? Council backs downtown Vel R. Phillips Plaza. Now, Vel Phillips, and I knew her kind of back in the day. Vel Phillips, a very, very prominent civil rights activist. She was a Milwaukee County judge. She was on the school board, politically active. She was she was on the Common Council. She was the first woman and first non-white elected Secretary of State in Wisconsin back in 1978. A very, very accomplished and very, very wonderful woman. I ran into her a couple times back when I was working in the U.S. Attorney's office, and she sort of represented a couple people who were, who we had charged with crimes and things like that. So I got to know her a little bit. A very, very wonderful woman. Okay, so what I'm about to say has nothing to do with the question of whether or not the city of Milwaukee should find some way to honor the contributions of Vel R. Phillips. That's not it. But here's what they've decided to do. The Common Council that is now saying we have no money for cops, we have no money for firefighters, we had to close stations. The Common Council is backing a plan to spend up to $15.75 million to build a downtown plaza dedicated to civil rights pioneer Vel Phillips. The plaza would be built between North Phillips Avenue and North 5th Street, just south of West Wisconsin Avenue. It's the parking lot, which is just a little bit to the north of where I'm broadcasting from and kind of right across the street from the convention center. So it would be a 30,000 square foot plaza that would include 2,900 square feet for food and beverage retail space, a garden, an area for a farmer's market, food trucks and other community events, an information kiosk, and a station for Milwaukee County's east-west bus rapid transit line. It would also then reserve space for the people who want to put in the streetcar, who want to extend the trolley. This is one of their stalking horses. If we've got this space reserved, well, then we can also add the trolley to that. The city-owned site is currently a parking lot. Some of the parking lot would be preserved for future commercial development. The hope is to have the plaza completed before the RNC arrives. So they're looking at $15.75 million to turn a parking lot that does have commercial potential into a plaza. Now, I have a couple points of this. And again, it has nothing to do with whether or not we should be figuring out a way to honor Vel R. Phillips. Let's take that out of the equation. Although one of the reasons why she's being named there is because if you question this, then, what do you have against Vel R. Phillips? Nothing against Vel R. Phillips. The question is, at this stage, do you take $15.7 million that you do not have, and it's going to theoretically be paid for by a tax incremental finance district where they hope to get the money back? We'll see. Do you take let's round up, let's call it $16 million that you don't have. Do you take prime commercial real estate in downtown Milwaukee, and do you turn it into a plaza? And what do you think is going to happen with this plaza once you build it? Needless to say, what's happened with MacArthur Square, a couple blocks over at the courthouse? It's turned into a homeless encampment. How long is it after this thing is built before a lot of the people who are living in tents in MacArthur Square decide, hey, we're going to move our tents over to this plaza? But beyond that, in a time when you don't have any money and you are pleading poverty, how can you justify taking $15.75 million and spending it on this? And like I say, I think what's really going on, I think this is a way to try to guarantee that there will be a space for the streetcar if they can ever figure out ways to expand that. But you don't have any money now. You're going to take $15.75 million and we're going to carve out space that is now a parking lot that's still available for commercial development, and we're going to turn it into a plaza. How crazy is that? 855-616-1620. That is the Old National Bank talk and text line. And again, this isn't about honoring, at least in my opinion, objections to it shouldn't be about honoring, Vel R. Phillips. That's not the question. Regardless of what you call it, the question is it appropriate at this point in time to spend $15 million to create this plaza? on Wisconsin Avenue across from the convention center, and what really is going to happen with this moving forward. And if the plan ultimately is we're trying to reserve space for the streetcar line that we hope to put in at some point in time, okay, that's all wonderful, but shouldn't we be honest about that? And shouldn't we explain where the money's going to come from? And how can you say we're going to cut cops because we don't have any money, at the same time we're going to build a $15 million plaza? 855-616-1620. We discuss.
More Jeff Wagner right after this.
Hey boaters, cruise to Kendor Marine. We've got everything you need but the water. Got an old boat, a new boat in between. Kendor Marine, upholstery and parts, hard to find things. Kendor Marine. Hey boaters, cruise to Kendor Marine. We've got everything you need but the water. Everything you need but the water. Hey boaters, cruise to Kendor Marine. We've got everything you need but the water. Like a boat-loving kid in a candy store. Kendor Marine. If you have a question, we have the expertise at Kendor Marine. Hey boaters, cruise to Kendor Marine. We've got everything you need but the water.
Easy to find at 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin or at KendorMarine.com.
Here's a great way to brighten up your Monday and Tuesday. Enjoy a free dinner from the award-winning Fox and Hounds restaurant near Holy Hill. With unique atmosphere, friendly staff, and free dinner, it's the best dining value in the state. Enjoy a fabulous steak, seafood, pasta, a fresh salad, anything on the menu, and your second dinner is free. Ice cream, drinks, and desserts, too. 100 wines and 25 bourbons will accent your dinner. The Fox and Hounds is tucked into the Kettle Moraine. It is magical. Perfect to celebrate a birthday, anniversary, retirement, or just a quiet, free dinner with your spouse. It's just off Highway 167, 2 miles east of Holy Hill. With the trees budding and flowers blooming, the spring drive through the Kettle Moraine Forest is just beautiful. It's a must-see. Step away from your kitchen. Enjoy a free dinner from the award-winning Fox and Hounds restaurant near Holy Hill. foxandhoundsrestaurant.com.
At Semper Fi, the path to self-improvement never ends. It feels good to be good. It's been 20 years, and we'll make sure you feel like you made a great decision to have us work on your next exterior remodeling project.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Since 1946, Ansay & Associates has provided insurance to help secure businesses throughout Wisconsin. As a family-owned, independent agency, customer satisfaction is our first and foremost priority. Our approach is relationship-driven and solutions-oriented to your individual needs and risk management for each customer. As one of Wisconsin's top 10 insurance agencies and among the top 5% of agents nationwide, Ansay & Associates can provide all of your insurance needs, from business, commercial, to employee benefits. Ansay & Associates is more than insurance. Ansay & Associates is your business solutions partner. Visit ansay.com today and get a free consultation with one of our strategists. Or come see us in person at any of our local offices. Ansay & Associates, securing and protecting your American dream.
You're listening to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. Jeff, not only will the park cost the city money they don't have, but it will greatly reduce the footprint of what someday could be another major tax-paying convention hotel. Well, yeah, now the city will tell you we've been trying to market this spot for years, and we can't find any takers. But, of course, the city said the same thing about the whole Park East development after they tore down the freeway, and ultimately they were able to do it. But you put in this plaza at an expense of $15 million. My question is, what do you think is going to happen to that? And, what are the odds that within 6 months after it's been up, that you're going to have all the people that are living in the homeless encampments, the tent cities at MacArthur Square, say, hey, this is better. Let's move over here. And it is interesting. I was looking at the debate. One of the aldermen, Scott Spiker, who was an alderman from the South Side, he said, look, let's understand what's going on here. This is really being done simply to accommodate a future streetcar extension. And that's what we're trying. That's what's really going on here. At least that's what he said. And it's interesting because one of the other aldermen, Bob Bauman, said, well, voting against a plaza that was named for a civil rights leader wouldn't look good. I wouldn't want that to be my legacy. And ultimately, Spiker caved in and voted for it. So that's this idea. Okay, the question is, does this make sense at all? And if you say, no, it doesn't, well, then you're voting against, naming something after Vel Phillips. You must, have issues with that. No, it's a question of what is going to happen with this. And by the way, where is the dough going to come from? And, okay, so this is $15 million. This is, and a number of you are pointing it out in the texts, this is the same city that wants to spend $15 million tearing down the Northridge property instead of simply allowing Phoenix investors to buy it, assume all the costs themselves because they've got some grand plan to try to return Northridge to what it was till 1985. And look, I mean, it's just crazy the way the city of Milwaukee spends money and what they choose to do. But and nobody seems to question that. But then, okay, we're going to plead poverty. We got to get rid of cops. Well, okay, if you got to get rid of cops, where's the millions of dollars coming from with Northridge? Where's the money that's coming from for this? One call quick. Holly in Kenosha. Holly, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Jeff. Thank you for taking my call, Val, as always. I'm all for the park, but how about taking the money and building a low-income apartments so that the homeless don't have to camp out in MacArthur Park and possibly in the future Vel Phillips Park? That's what I say, and I speak for experience. I am living in a very nice, high-rise, low-income apartment building in Kenosha.
Well,
there you go.
Well, Holly, thanks. I'm not sure how the city would feel about, let's say, okay, we've got prime downtown real estate. I know, like within, how about, we've got the rest of that block. Let's put some low-income housing. I don't think that's what they're ultimately planning for this. I don't think that anybody in the city is going to say low-income housing is the way to go, but it is definitely, I guess, an idea that's out there. I'm just saying, whenever you hear the city plead poverty, look at what they are spending money on, whether it's the HOP, whether it's tearing down Northridge instead of letting a private developer do it, $15 million to develop a plaza on Wisconsin Avenue. Look at all the money that they spend and then, ask yourself, are they really, where are our priorities? When we come back, let's find out what John Mercure has on his mind on Wisconsin's Afternoon News.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this.
Hey, I'm John Mercure.
And I'm Sandy Max.
Great news.